Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
And over there is Sean Bell.
All right.
And there's James Farley.
Hello.
All right. I'm surprised I didn't go, why was I laugh? It's quite, you're stepping up, you're maturing.
Anymore. You know, it's fine.
You're maturing. Oh,
Given up.
Good.
We know Matt's always going to be second, so it's fine. You know.
Well, he's number 2, isn't he?
Yeah. Well.
No. Sorry. I love the fact that he's constantly offended and surprised by that. It's just, he does fuck all. He moans about doing the podcast and then goes, well, why am I not more important? I don't know why that started like that, James. I was going to ask, how you been? All right?
Yeah, fine.
Good. Sean, we good?
Yeah,
Spirits right, yeah. Up. Yeah, Matt.
Excellent, thank you.
Right, let's get straight into the feedback then. They all love it last week, did they?
Actually, I mean, obviously we've had a lot of feedback over the past few weeks, and last week it was actually not so bad. But I didn't really want to go into Detroit, but there's a couple of points I'm going to just bring up Detroit and Shenmue. It'll be a quick one.
Is this going to be the end of it?
Yeah. This is the last mention of it. But Ashley Day tweeted in the hypocrisy of James defending Shenmue after lambasting Detroit. Can I please change my vote? P.S. I like Shenmue.
We've already addressed this last week. And
this is the last time. Let's address it now and put it to bed.
Yeah, well, there's a big difference between a game that came out 20 years ago and a game that came out this year. There's
not a big difference between someone that can overlook its flaws and say, do you know what, I still really enjoyed it, and also what you did. Like, it was the same thing.
It's not the same thing at all. It's completely
different. I think
James's
point is that, like, if Shenmue 3 comes out and is exactly like the old ones, that would be unforgivable.
Exactly. I totally agree with that.
Have you got the tweet there, Matt, where they said that actually James blamed the Times for the voice acting, but really here's the truth.
Yeah. So the next point, I hope that answers your question, Ashley, by the way. I mean, I'm looking forward to Shenmue 3, because if James is like, yeah, it's got some bad points, but I enjoy it, then I'm like, nope.
Well, no, Matt, if you can address what the bad points are, and then we can have a discussion about it, that'd be fine.
Hold on, wait.
But if I just say I like it and you can't argue against that, then it'd be the same as our Detroit argument.
So you're saying, James, that if Shenmue 3 comes out and it's still got the same old problems and the same bad voice acting, then you'll have an issue with it?
Of course I would.
So I'm assuming I can't wait to play Shenmue 2 that gets rid of all of these issues of Shenmue 1. And
I never said it got rid of all the issues. I said it does get rid of some of the issues.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, let's see. I'm assuming the voice acting is...
No. The voice acting's still terrible. But there are other... Matt, look, we've already been over this.
Isn't Shenmue 2? Isn't the voice acting Japanese only?
Well, no, it was in the original Dreamcast release. But then
we're not James about the voice. He knows nothing. Clearly.
David is still persisting on just using the English dub, so he's getting what he deserves. So it's fine.
It is funny.
Even if it's Dave's fault.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
he's getting what he deserves.
Unbelievable.
It's your fault, Dave. Speaking of the
just because he doesn't want to read. But go on.
He's right. I'm not going to read through a game.
He doesn't want to read that, boy. James Day, at James Swift Day on Twitter. The reason for Shenmue's poor English dub was not because it was a product of its time. I think James actually said they spent more on the visuals than the voice. That's a quote. James says it was because Suzuki made some idiotic decisions, like handling it in Japan, where there were very few good English-speaking actors.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember reading about that before. That is true.
I mean, that sort of makes sense, because as bad as the voice acting is, like, all the Japanese pronunciations are spot on, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, that figures.
So that's the case. So what's David Cage's excuse?
They're all French.
I was going to say, so Cage uses English actors to play Americans and all sorts of
shit. It sounds rubbish in English, but if you listen to it in French, it all makes perfect sense.
There's not
the dialogue isn't leaden and terrible, but yeah, it's fun.
It's all. I mean, and I played it in French, so maybe that's where.
That's
where we got confused.
God, can you imagine if suddenly you play like any Quantic Dream game in French, and suddenly it's like, fucking hell, it's an art house film.
This is the most incredible bit of writing. Yeah.
There's suddenly no plot holes. It's just...
Yes, that's what Dave said a moment ago.
God. You're having a right go tonight, Matt, aren't you? It's like, is this because you got a couple of these tweets and you're just like, oh, I can have a go at James now. This is great. Go on.
Look, I got to tell you what I can get. James mentions the game Juiced every single week. To track whether he said it this week or any week, Athene Allen made an amazing website. I mean, it's a very simple website, but go to Did James mention Juice this week? .azurewebsites.net, and you'll be able to find out whether James has or hasn't mentioned the popular video game Juiced. Also, if you look on the Wikipedia page for Juiced, there's a little mention.
Can I just say, there must be a way.
James Farley as well.
There must be a way of weekly, like, auto tweeting out what that says on a weekly basis. Like, there must be a way of doing that. If so, I think get that sorted, because I ain't going to be checking that website every week.
Yeah,
but
I will
subscribe to a Twitter account that just updates with whenever that updates.
Someone create a Twitter bot.
That's right, Matt. Yeah.
Yes.
Go on, let's go.
It's a waste of time, because I'm not going to be mentioning that game again. So it's fine.
Right, we'll see.
Really?
We'll see.
Okay, we move on. Progress lost on Twitter.
That's his way of doing it, Matt. That's his way of never mentioning it again.
Maybe James said it there, but it was on mute.
We're never going to hear James's voice again. He's going to turn up every week, and the only thing he's going to say is hello when I say his name at the beginning, and that's it, through fear of mentioning Juice. It's the only way to make sure. Look, see, he's quiet.
I've never even played the game, so, it's...
All right, go on.
Come on, yeah, don't matter about that. Progress lost on Twitter. Reconsole sound like jet engines. As obviously last week you discussed your Xbox One X or 1-2-1, Dave, and we'll probably come on to that in a bit, versus PS4 Pro. Anyway, reconsoles sounding like jet engines. Do you house yours with a TV unit? I've got an IKEA thing, and I've had to take my Pro out of it because it sounded like the LHC every time I turned it on.
Can I just say, though, why have we got into a situation where... Why have we got into a situation where we need to do that? I mean, literally a TV unit. No, just have it hanging from threads from the ceiling so it can ventilate properly. Jesus Christ. Do you know what I mean?
It makes it sound like it's on you to fix that, doesn't it? Which it really shouldn't be.
Totally. Yeah. We've designed this console. Like, well, can you put it in a TV unit? No, don't do that. Do not do that. Make sure you keep it in the fridge with the HDMI cable hanging out of the fridge. And you know what I mean? It's like, It's not... You can't just... I know what you're saying. That's good advice, mate. And I appreciate you sending it to me. I'm not having a pop at you. But what I'm saying is that I'm not taking it out of the TV unit. It's ridiculous. Where else am I going to put it?
Just build a miniature raft and have it floating on the bath. And then
I think the fridge one was about as good as we got with that, Matt.
No, I think the bath one's better. Adam, late to the party A2. Dave, did you know Onrush is now on Game Pass?
I do know that. Yeah, that is really big, a game that you should definitely get if you've got Game Pass. It's excellent. Although I haven't booted it up for a while because the last few times that I tried to play it was just against bots. That still the proper sticks in my teeth. That the first month I played that game, it was just brilliant. It was full rooms, really good fun. I mean, I could, if I knew I was getting a full game, I'd turn it on tonight and play it. But the problem was, it just went to bots, and that was that. That's going to stick with me for a long time. That one.
It will be interesting to see what sort of, if it does get an audience on Game Pass, and
I mean, it's one of those games that I think if people if it's there, like if it was on PS Plus or whatever, I think lots of people would download it and try it, because it's one of those games that everyone's like, it looks good, yeah, I'll be willing to give it a go. How much? No, you're right. You know what I mean? Like, if it's just there free to download, I think it would do quite well.
Does it have in-game microtransactions?
Not as such. They're all.
It's all in-game currency.
Last time I was on it, it was all in-game currency that you earn during the game. And apparently all the DLC is going to be free as well. How much of that there's going to be, I don't know. But it's
even if there was like a tiny bit of in-game microtransactions, just like get on PS Plus now, like if it feels like just throw it on there, and if you get any revenue from the transactions,
I think to the point where they're just earning fuck all from it, like we're literally zero sales. I don't think that's far off. I think they might actually just stick it out there, like just put it on PS Plus.
Oh my god, it's come to Games Pass super quick, so.
It has. It has.
It would definitely. It would get a wider audience on PS Plus, wouldn't it? I mean, you get like a lot more people on it.
Well, yeah, because you're automatically subscribed to it, and well, not automatically. You know what I mean? If you want to play online, you've got PS Plus, and the problem with Game Pass is it's the £8 a month thing, and that's not for everyone.
So it wasn't. I mean, like Rocket League did really well, like initially, didn't it? Because PS Plus.
That was a slightly different case because it launched on PS Plus, and it was. I don't think they thought it was going to do that well, but all of a sudden it just exploded. And then because once the month was over, the buzz was still about and people were just buying it after that. I don't think it's been. Has it been on? I don't think it's been on Games with Gold yet.
No, it hasn't.
Which would probably be a mad thing to do because of how successful it was afterwards.
That's also on Game Pass. So
is it really? Rocket League's on Game Pass. Oh, yeah. That's impressive. I didn't think it would be, but yeah. I mean, God, we'll talk about Rocket League later.
We will. Matthew Moore, I'm going to say Moore on Twitter. Game of the Year conversation. Obviously, we discussed last week. Someone messaged us about whether we should or shouldn't include Hollow Knight because none of us have played it or mentioned it the year before. Matthew continues, how about the rule about any new game released for the first time on console in the year? Do you play PC games regularly enough to try them and consider them? When Superhot was first out in 2016 on Xbox One. So he's saying basically because we're not really hardcore PC gamers, is there a way we can somehow squeeze this game into Game of the Year because it didn't come out on console last year?
There's not. No. I don't. I think we've already set that standard and we just can't go back on it.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
I know everyone's desperately trying to squeeze Hollow Knight in, but...
Well, by the sounds of it, from what Sean said, probably not going to make the top of the list, is it? Know what I mean?
It's a belter.
It is.
Yeah, I know, but you were saying, the fucking this, that, and the other. You were slagging it off the other week.
I wasn't slagging it off. It's just the very, very end game stuff is a bit silly.
Yeah,
but overall, I do love it.
But can you see it winning the prize this year?
Not with you and Matt. No. This is the thing.
Hang on, look. I don't know. If you treat me right, James, maybe I'll vote for this game. And
you ain't going to vote for
games.
anything I say, Matt. So you
might vote for one. Right, I'll vote for Hollow Knight if you vote for Detroit.
Oh, good one.
If you bring Detroit, Matt, I'm done. You can't bring that as a.
What does that mean?
You can't bring that as a Game of the Year game. You just
can't.
Of course
you can. What does that mean? You're done, James.
It means that I'm done. It means I'll retire.
Are you going to quit the show?
It means I retire. I just can't. I can't do that.
Quit the show because I might bring Detroit on.
It's absurd. It's like absolutely absurd.
I might bring Detroit on now.
You're going to have to now, Matt. You're going to have to.
A game that you've admitted that you even said wasn't a very good game.
Let's not get into this again. I'm bringing it. At Spittle Milk Studio on Twitter.
The thing is, if it's Detroit versus Hollow Knight, you know which one Matt's voting for, and you know how much of a prick I am. So it's going to be the biggest stalemate in the computer game show history.
It's alright. Sean knows how much of an idiot like David Cage is, so he'll be fine.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. So it'll be 2 votes each, and we'll just be sitting there, just neither of us budging.
Yeah.
No, but maybe I might vote for one of Sean's earlier in the show, and therefore he owes me one, so he'll. Sean will go.
I couldn't do that. I could not do that.
You'd lose all credibility with me, Sean, if you voted for like a David Cage game. I just couldn't.
Anyway, we've got 3 months to work out our plans.
Oh God, I'm so excited for the end of the year show already. This is going to be a good one.
That's not.
Let's skip forward now.
Yeah.
Red Dead what? Anyway, just finished. This is Spittle Milk Studios. Andrew Smith on Twitter. Just finished the latest episode. Sorry to be that guy, but Hollow Knight's success on Switch is not a surprise to anyone. It sold over 1 million copies on PC, though admittedly it sold faster on Switch. Y'all were like. He said, y'all were like, nobody was talking about it, then it blew up on Switch. And I think that's more about the team's focus on console over PC at the moment. No bad thing, just wanted to give the name, the game and the devs their dues. I love a show, you know I do.
Yeah, no, fair play, but I will say this, I hadn't even heard of the game until it came out on Switch. I mean, so
really?
I know...
But that surprised me, because they mentioned... Well, okay, I mean, they mentioned Loads and Giant Bomb last year.
Did they?
So I thought we would have heard. Yeah, it was in the Game of the Year stuff for a couple of categories.
But that's weird because I've been listening to it recently, and they've just been saying that they're they can't get into it and they don't want to play it and stuff. It just sounds weird if they were talking about it on PC as being great, and now they don't seem interested.
Well, yeah,
are you suggesting Matt's lying here?
Jason A. Strikers talking about last year. I can't remember the others, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I didn't listen to much of that stuff. But yeah, no, it just passed me by, so I hadn't really heard of it. But no, good to hear that it did well there and it's carrying on to do well.
Cool. In last week's questions, Athene Allen asked if were Skate 4 to be announced, how would they fuck up? I mentioned it'll probably all be about followers, and that's how you progress in the game. Cami Toman, at Co-Mutiny on Twitter, tweets in Skate 3, the story was that you were using magazines and the videos you were shooting to sell boards, and each mission success was made up of just a number going up. Doesn't sound much different to the followers thing you were talking about on Skate 4. So yeah, you're right. It's just like a modern version, I guess.
We were just laughing at how that's so obvious the way they would do that. Now that EA are all about influencers and stuff like that, it seemed more funny. Sorry,
but actually, I mean, like Cammy just like mentioning that story. I would love it if they just stuck with that story, like and made it so it's set in 2018. It was set in the 90s, and it wasn't about magazines and videos.
No chance.
Anyway, that's it for follow-up. If you want to leave us follow-up or question or feedback or whatever you've got, it's at ComputerGamePod on Twitter, or you can email thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. Before we go to the news, actually, obviously we're doing a live show at EGX. It's on 22nd of September. You just need a regular EGX day ticket to come and see our live podcast. It's on Saturday. It's 5 till 7. We're also having a meet afterwards at the Wellington Real Ale pub. It's on Bennett's Hill in the centre of Birmingham. We can have drinks and just have a meet up and see what happens. But that's happening straight afterwards, about 7:30 onwards. I wasn't implying relationships. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's what it sounded like.
I mean, it's gonna be no relationships for me. It's just we'll go there, a couple of soft drinks, get off. I don't even get off. I don't even get
off. Matt, what do you think this is?
You can't just offer this stuff up without telling us first.
There's a massive bowl, watches in the bowl, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, there's giving me it's at a Wellington Real Ale pub.
But the thing is,
there'll
be one Apple Watch in here, and we all know who that is.
James Farley. No. Anyway, yeah. So live show 22nd, and then the meet afterwards. Get involved.
Okay, all right. Should we get straight onto the news?
We can. I was just thinking. No, I was just thinking before we start this. No, I was just thinking. Do you reckon we get some music for this, to kick it off? Because it would make the transition less awkward.
What? No. Why? We don't do music.
What, like a
yeah, what do you want?
It's like a proper news thing
with James Farley.
Yeah, something like that. It sounds like more. It sounds better. Because it's
we're not doing that.
It's always an awkward transition. I don't like it.
I don't give a fuck.
It doesn't have to be awkward.
No, it doesn't. You're right, Matt. It just
has to be awkward this week, apparently.
It's really awkward. I'm really elongated.
How about, James, you just go, okay, right, here's the news, rather than go,
because if I do that,
that's the one that you do the most.
If I say that, you just immediately start laughing. So it's just...
Because it's funny. My favourite is this, you go, right. It's that's the best transition ever. It's just blunt and right, let's go. James with the news.
There's been a lot of news this week.
Good.
No, there has. And you see, the first news story I want to look at is it's one that I want to talk about, even though I know David's probably not going to be interested. But it's about the Chinese Ministry.
Don't judge me. Stop judging me. Just
because whenever I start talking about this stuff, you always just start saying, that's having a go and slagging me off and stuff. So
David Turner's is an open book. He's very willing to hear about anything, as long as it's not to do with China. Let's move on. First story.
So anyway,
let's go.
The Chinese Ministry of Education
for fuck's sake. Go on.
Okay, so they're recommending fewer game approvals to combat myopia, you see. So,
what does that mean?
Well, it's short-sightedness. Now, this is quite interesting because this has been a problem, there's a problem with myopia in China, there's been for a very long time. I mean, anecdotally, when I lived there, most of the people that I knew that had been to university, everyone wears glasses because everyone's nearsighted all the time. And, I mean, according to research that I was reading today, because I thought I'd better do a bit of, have a look at, see what some of the figures were. According to the South China Morning Post, which is a newspaper, so it's not a very scholarly source, but it's something, they reckon that 90% of university students are short-sighted, and 50% of secondary school students had the problem, and 20% of primary school pupils. So, but this has been a problem for a very long time. totally like it predates like the explosion of like mobile gaming by at least a decade or two. Like, I mean, most of my wife's friends, they all wear glasses. My wife is supposed to wear glasses but refuses to because she says they make her look old. I don't agree, but you know, that's what she always says.
Gun to your head.
Yeah.
So what is it down to then? If it's not about smartphone gaming and stuff,
it's mostly down to environment and the fact that most parents force their children to do an awful lot of study. And the study, like, it goes on from, like, very early in the morning to, like, really late at night. And they spend a lot of time just, like, sitting indoors in very poor lighting, like, just cramming, like, studying all the time. And it does destroy your eyes, like, over time if you kind of do that. But the government has kind of figured that it's not that, and that actually it's video games are to blame, even though it's been around for, like, a decade or so. So they've got a plan, and the plan is to reduce the rate by 5%. To 2023 by 2023. So I assume that means that only 85% of university students are going to have this problem now. But to do this, they want to limit the amount of time that minors can play games online. So they want to put in like timers and stuff like that. They want to implement age ratings for games, because this is also something which blew my mind when I first went to China, is the fact that there's no age ratings on anything. Like, there's no age ratings on like films either, or just anything. No, there's nothing at all. And because what they do is any film that gets released is cut so that it's suitable for any audience. So, you know, like for any sort of age, you know, sort of any age range. And that may sound weird, but it's just that a lot of films that are like, you know, like really, like a lot of super violent films get released anyway and just like cut slightly. And anything that has like any sexual content just doesn't get released. And yeah, that's how it's been for like a very long time. They don't have like a watershed or anything like that.
So did the Saw movies come out in China?
No. They wouldn't come out. If they wouldn't come out in the cinema. You can get them like on like DVD or whatever. But, yeah, but no, in general, there's no cinema rating system, and it's the same for video games as well. There's never been like any rating system. So they want to create this rating system, but the other thing they want to do, which is what is a bigger problem that is causing like knock-on effect, is that they want to limit the number of new online games that are approved. Because the way that it works in China is that it's not like you can just like release anything. It has to go through this organisation called SAFT, who decide what is allowed to be like, you know, what is allowed to come out. And so what they're doing is they limit the number of licenses they're going to give, and this means that like companies like Tencent have already been hit by this. I mean, Tencent, probably you don't know who they are, but they're like they're a massive company. I mean, they own Epic, they own Bluehole, and like all of these companies, they're one of like China's biggest like online like internet companies.
I'm quite aware of who they are.
Yeah.
And so how are they determining which ones get released and which don't?
Well, sometimes it depends on content.
It's a deciding factor.
Well, sometimes it depends on content. I mean, this is why, I mean, you know, like Monster Hunter came out, and then it was supposed to come out in China, and then it was just, they just said, no, it's not coming out now, and it's not happening like now. I mean, for quite a long time, there was like an official like console ban, even though you could still buy them like, you know, sort of, you know, in the black market kind of thing, but they didn't.
What was the reasoning for that?
Well, again, it's the corrupting youth thing. It's all, the whole focus in this is on like corruption. I mean, you've got like, I mean, the PS4 and Xbox One, I don't know if the PS4 is out now, but the Xbox One was out, but they have like their own version of things, is kind of the way it works. And yeah, it's so this organisation SAFT, they determine whatever can come out, you know, through this, especially if it's coming from foreign companies. And even
that sounds ridiculous.
Well, no, but it's
like,
just
what's stopping corruption in that? Like, what's stopping someone just saying, "Well, we'll pay you X amount to make sure our one's released"?
Because you can't. Because in this case,
call me that, but I mean, what I don't get is that surely. Well, I mean, what's the factor of what a game company? If it is violence. If it's violence...
It's not violence. It's not specifically violence. Well, what it is like especially since Xi Jinping has been in power, they've been focusing on this idea that all media has to promote like what they call core socialist values. And certain values that they try and promote are ones which are not compatible always with video games, is the thing. And it's the same with TV as well. Like, there'll be certain... Like, for example, if you look at like TV shows... Not so long ago, they started getting rid of loads of like things like dating programs and stuff on TV, because they said that these programs are like harmful for society. You know, they're not good for, you know, sort of promoting like good values and everything in like people and everything. So they just said, okay, you can't make these anymore. The other stuff I mean, there's a lot of really weird stuff that's banned. I mean, you're not allowed to release films or like TV shows that involve time travel is another thing, which is like
Because that's going to affect.
But like specific time travel, like with with this. Like, there's like you're not allowed. Well, no, because
specific. Because you're not allowed to travel between 2018 and 1942.
You're not allowed to walk into a phone box.
I just love the idea. It's like, look, we can't have people getting ideas about going back in time.
Yeah. Well, it's because there was tons of these that came out. There was like loads and loads of these sort of things that came out. But the trouble is that, you see, the party in China keeps a really tight control over historiography and over what has happened in the past. And if you go against that, they call it like historical nihilism. Like, they've got this idea that if you start to like criticize it, then it can undermine the state and the way that the state is. For the same reason, I mean, you do get Chinese science fiction. It does exist, but it's just not super mainstream. And one of the reasons is because, like, the party determines what the future is going to be, like, not people. So it's like, they're the ones that are going to decide, like, ultimately. I mean, that's not to say that this media like this doesn't exist, because it totally does. It's just not like a mainstream, like,
just imagine like the backstreet cinemas in China as this like Marty McFly roams around the screen. You know what I mean? They're all like, yeah, go on, don't kiss your mum, that would be weird. Well, so is Back to the Future that can't be right then, because that has future.
I mean, that came out ages ago, but it's like, but what I'm talking about is domestically produced stuff, not foreign produced. So it's like, if it's like foreign produced, then it's usually some of those things come through, some of them don't. You know, it depends. It sometimes depends on how the censors are feeling and whether it's something that's like politically sensitive or whatever. I mean, I remember when I used to go and see films there, it was really weird because sometimes they would like blur out the sound of countries if it was countries that were like friendly with China or whatever at the time, and they were being portrayed as villains, like in a film. Like there was this one film I saw. It was like one of those like action films, and it turned out that like these soldiers were like Russian soldiers, and at that time the relationship between China and Russia was improving. So every time that the guy like went to say like they're Russian soldiers, it just went they're soldiers like that. And it's just the attention to detail is quite interesting. Like if you start looking at like how much like what they censor and what they don't censor is, but more recently it's become a bigger thing, and particularly with this idea of promoting core socialist values, and video games are probably considered not to be doing that.
This sounds fucking horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, the bad thing about this obviously is for outside of China, like for China, it's terrible, but then outside of China, this story is bad as well, because it means that, like, I mean, Tencent has really, like, taken over, like, a lot of companies. It's been putting a lot of money into all this, whereas their shares have, like, already been massively hit by this. So it's going to that could have a knock-on effect on there's other companies like Epic, like, ultimately. It's, because the gaming market in China is really now, like, heavily focused on, like, mobile, and that's where Tencent, like, comes from, is, like, from that part of the industry. But I don't know.
Is this going to affect like mobile gaming?
Yeah, absolutely, it'll affect mobile gaming, because I mean, they're talking about restricting the number of stuff that comes out as well, and also like, you know, all the things like the gambling and the loot crates and stuff like that. It's
What I like really like esports heavy games, because obviously like, you know, Asia typically have like tons of teams in various esports teams, you know, like things like Dota and League of Legends and stuff. Is this going to affect them? And because that's surely also like bringing wealth into the country, isn't it? With like those teams doing well, and
it could definitely affect that, because especially, I mean, with that, I mean, they're using stuff that's already come out, so they'd be looking more at like timers and stuff like that for younger people would be a problem, because the people wouldn't be able to play like as much, and I mean, the trouble with this is it's easy for the government to target video games with this, but as everyone's already said, it's not addressing the problem, because to address the problem of myopia, they're going to have to rethink their entire education system, and they're not going to do that. So it's much easier to just say, oh, it's video games' fault, you know, to like blame them for it. It's but the way the industry works there, well, the way that the media industry works there is really interesting. It's but also, yeah, not great, you know, when you're trying to get hold of stuff.
That's some great research there. Thanks for giving us the full story. I assume you've done that for all the stories on our list today, right?
Oh, yeah, totally, yeah. It's
just the ones that you know what I mean? Starting to sound a bit dodgy now. I only researched the Chinese stories. Go on. What's next?
Okay, so Sony, we've had this whole thing before with Sony not allowing cross-platform play, because because they wouldn't do it. But they now, like, the chief executive, like Yoshida, has like come out and said the reason why. And he said that Sony don't allow for cross-platform play because other consoles are worse. Well, he didn't use those words exactly, but he said that he felt that the PlayStation 4 offered the best experience for gamers. Therefore, this experience shouldn't be like compromised by connection with other platforms. Is kind of the implication.
This is like, you know, when they took the PS2 compatibility away from the PS3, and they said, oh, it's because people are playing all these old games which are worse. So we've improved your experience by removing that option. It's like, fuck off.
We don't need
bizarre.
Rumble.
Yeah.
This sounds like Sony is run by a fucking 5-year-old. It's just the most. I read this today and I thought, oh God, there's no way he actually said that. This is all bollocks, to fill a headline or whatever. And then I read the story and I was like, oh no, he actually did. This is the most insane thing. It's one of the most unprofessional, stupid. Like, why would you even say this to the point where? Do you think anyone's going to read that and say, oh, yeah, of course, yeah, they've got the best console, so that's why the others are rubbish, aren't they? Like, it makes zero sense. No one looks through this. No one looks at this and thinks it's a valid reason not to do what everyone wants you to do. It's fucking horse shit. And do you know what? I've always, my PlayStation has been my main console for a long time. Since the turn of the generation, my PlayStation has been my main console. I really hope next gen they get absolutely fucking trounced now, because this shit is just ridiculous.
Well, it's the same.
Come out
before.
and say it's a business reason we want to do it for. Can you read the full quote? The full quote's on that article you posted. It's towards the bottom, because it makes me even more angry.
He also said we decide based on what is the best user experience. Is the other mental
what
thing
difference
to say.
does it make?
It's like he's the one
what
deciding.
Difference does it make? Someone else is using a different user experience. Can you read that quote at the bottom? It's like 2 paragraphs. It's quite short.
Yeah, hang on. I'm just trying to bring it up. Oh, so this is why I hate it when you do this, because it's now our computer's all freezing
Sorry, James,
up.
I thought you'd become a good newsman after the Chinese story, but it just turns out that you're...
to go?
I've got the links ready to go, but I've got selected quotes that I've culled from it. I didn't know you were going to want the whole story. Okay. 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 Which paragraph is this? Is this
right towards the end? It's like the bottom 2 paragraphs, I think. They're in quotes.
Yeah, I know, but he starts talking about VR and everything here.
Well, no, fuck that shit. Just talk about the story that we're talking about.
Okay, so he says, but actually we already opened some games as cross-platform with PC and some others...
I think it's a paragraph above he wants.
Okay, so so he said the paragraph below, but never mind. On cross-platform, our way of thinking is always that PlayStation is the best place to play. Fortnite, I believe, partnered with PlayStation 4, is the best experience for users. That's our belief, he said.
But, fine. So people that are playing it on the PlayStation will get the best experience. Allowing cross-platform play is not going to affect that.
Yeah, it improves the PlayStation player's experience. It doesn't...
I mean, honestly, and I'm not being funny, but you saw how many people kicked off when the Fortnite thing happened. Yeah. Would you then honestly say, as Matt, put Matt for an example, Matt's played more Fortnite than all of us, right? He won't play it on the PlayStation 4 because it doesn't allow cross-platform play. He plays it on there so he can play it, he can unlock shit on the Xbox at home, and then when he's out, he can play on his phone or on the Switch. Do you know what I mean? You're not going, you're actively making it worse.
It is. I mean, it's making my experience worse because, I don't play Fortnite, but if I was going to, I would play it on Xbox now in case I wanted to play it on Switch or whatever. Whereas, if I played it on my PlayStation 4, on the PS4 Pro, then probably, it would be better. But I'm actively not going to choose that now because it'll mess things up. It's
like they actually think that as a PlayStation user, by playing with someone who's on an Xbox, suddenly the interface on your PS4 is going to change, and it's going to get infected by the Xbox.
You're not even playing other consoles. It's just literally that the account unlocking the things you learn on other consoles. So surely that doesn't even change the UX.
Yeah.
Look, the thing is, no one sees through this bullshit. I would have so much more respect for him if he come out and said, look, the fact is, we don't want people using Microsoft stores and gaining money and then using those items on the PlayStation. We want you to purchase on our network, and that way we get our fair share. Fine. Okay. I don't think that's a very clever thing to do, but if that's your reasoning, then I get it.
Also, because there are a double the amount of PlayStations and there are Xboxes out there, so...
Well, even if they were literally just guys, we're on top, where there is no point, we have no interest in trying to appease people because we do not have to. At least it's fucking honest. Like,
well, that's it.
It's shit.
And you'd go, well, that's the reason we all thought it was anyway.
Yeah.
No one's sitting there thinking, well, we're not doing it because they're an inferior. It was like the whole fucking EA Access bollocks when they said, we believe actually it's all about, what was it they said?
It's the user experience, wasn't it? And it's,
no, it wasn't the user experience. It was value for money. That was the phrase they used.
Oh, yeah.
EA Access doesn't offer the value for money that our customers are used to. And then tried to sell us fucking PlayStation Now that was more expensive. It's just, honestly, just fucking bullshit,
he could have just lied and just said, we're investigating the possibility. You know, that's all you've got to say.
He did lie. He did lie and tell us that, well, the reason we're not doing this is because this
yeah, but less of like a
console.
dickhead lie. You know, just...
Yeah, but this is going back to like Sony of old, where they're like, you need a second job, like you don't need Rumble. I mean, I would love this.
God,
I would love
second
it
job thing. Fucking hell, I forgot about that.
Yeah. I would
Second
love it
job,
if Burton them going to next generation.
Sticking journalists on a tent so they miss half the fucking conference. I mean, it's getting. This is why. Look, my PS4 has got way more use than my Xbox One has. Right, probably. I don't know. I haven't really counted it up, but I think that's probably right. Especially with single player games, I play all my single player games on PlayStation. But there's part of me that's really bitter about it. From this sort of shit to the fact that they still, as far as I'm aware, they still have that policy that they do not refund things unless they're broken, and that includes if you get hacked.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? They will actively close down your account, losing you all the games that you've bought. You know what I mean? It's that sort of shit that you just kind of like, mate, I can't wait for Microsoft or whoever, if Google sort of comes out with some shit, I can't wait for someone else to take this ball off them, because they just treat people like shit sometimes. It
is annoying, because there's just, I mean, the thing is, I'm tied to PlayStation now because there's just so many of the games that I want to play are on it. But I'd be quite happy to play them on another platform if they existed on those other platforms. Like if I could get Yakuza on Xbox, I'd play it on there. It's
and I think
sorry,
go on, Sean.
I was going to say, like, what gets me is it feels like every generation, like whoever's on top, just sort of thinks like, well, all right, we don't really have to try so hard. We don't have to be nice because we don't have to win people over. And it's like, guys, you can have the better product and not be dickheads. Imagine that. Like you can do both. They're not mutually exclusive. I
don't know. There'll
weird.
be people that listen to this that they're there's that whole console wars and things like that. And quite clearly, I'm not saying you've bought the wrong console, and quite clearly, I'm not saying that the Xbox is better than PlayStation. Xbox have got some shady shit as well, but I'm just saying, like, I can't. This stuff really does piss me off. It is real stubbornness that seems to be holding back what we love doing with our spare time. You know what I mean? It's literally holding it back. And it just, it does mean it's a problem, and it's not going to be resolved because of the stubbornness of a fucking gaming company.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, there's more Fortnite stuff, which I want to talk about here, which is, I mean, so Epic has criticised Google because basically Google revealed that there was a security flaw in the Android version of Fortnite. And they published this report last Friday, and they said that the app could then be hijacked by other apps that could then, and this is the quote, to instead install a fake APK with any permissions that would normally require user disclosure. So this could mean that apps could be silently download like unapproved software and stuff onto your phone or whatever. So Google reported this to Epic on the 15th of August, and 2 days later it was fixed. So they did like fix it, it was okay. But apparently what happened then was that Epic had asked Google not to reveal the issue for 90 days. Because usually it would take, they give them 7 days, but they wanted 90 days so that users had time to patch their devices, presumably because of Android fragmentation, I don't know. So the problem is that the app is only updated when the game is launched and not automatically, like in the same, like, is it the same? I presume it's the same as on iOS, Sean, like with the Play Store. Is it like they just get updated automatically, yeah? Yeah,
basically, whenever the phone's plugged in and on Wi-Fi, it'll just check automatically. I think you can change under which circumstances it does it, but yeah, basically, yeah.
So Tim Sweeney's annoyed about this, like the CEO of Epic, because he's basically saying that this is like Google like playing like a PR strategy to like have a go at them not using the Play Store. and that also it will alert hackers who might try to target like unpatched users as well. Is like the other thing. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, Epic's like through the first punch, right? So I sort of like it is perhaps. I mean, is it shitty of Google to do this, given that they are just warning people?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Are they? Is it in the public interest, the information they're giving?
Yeah, like are they doing it because Epic gave them a bloody nose, and it's like, well, fuck you then. Like,
well, it's in the public interest to know that like you might have software on your phone that's like dodgy. Like,
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
and obviously it plays perfectly into like we said as soon as this news story came up, it was like, well, yeah, there's a potential security risk. People are going to download the wrong things. As it turns out, it's a bit more insipid than that because you can be using the official launcher, but then that could be used to install other shit that you might not know about.
Yeah.
So it is actually a little bit worse than we originally thought. So yeah, like people have a right to know this stuff. But then I see Epic's point that's like, well, actually, if no one knew about it, we could have sorted it on the hush hush before hackers became aware of it. So, I don't know, 6 one, half a dozen the other, maybe. But I can't feel bad about anyone involved. I think I'm not really on anyone's side.
No, there's no bad guy here, really, is there?
Yeah.
It's just companies fighting with each other, isn't it? It's just the
let them. Who cares?
Okay. And the other thing that happened last week was that Destiny 2 hit PlayStation Plus like by surprise. It's like available now in time for the Forsaken expansion's out now, isn't it? Is that?
No, it's tomorrow.
By the time you listen to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
How do you feel about this, Sean? You're the biggest Destiny 2 fan amongst us.
I saw loads of people giving like, oh, well, that fucking failed then, didn't it? No. This is just quite a smart way of getting people involved right before the expansion comes out. I think it's great. Like I know like a fair few people who are just like, oh, I was never that interested, but I'll download it now, and it's like, good, you'll probably have a very good time. I agree. Like obviously, the free version that you are getting is just vanilla Destiny 2 with like none of the expansions and stuff. Which I think is fair enough. One thing that is a bit shit is that I believe so. If you've got this free version, you can't just buy the new expansion. You have to get like the Warmind DLC as well, or something like that. That's kind of shit. Don't really understand why that's the case. Because if it was just here's a free game, also the new shit is £35. That would be a lot simpler for people to get their heads around. Plus, like it's not like the Warmind DLC is particularly great. So yeah, I don't really know what the deal is there. I can only assume it's that because the Warmind DLC unlocks Mars as a play. I think it was Mars as a playable planet, and maybe that's part of the new shit. I don't know. But yeah, no. Otherwise, I thought this was fine. Like, bearing in mind, like when the Taken King came out, which was the big Year 2 expansion for Destiny 1. Like, you could get the original game for like a $5 in CEX anyway.
That's it. Yeah.
So,
totally.
and obviously, and Bungie are seeing nothing from that. So maybe they looked at that and were like, well, actually, shall we just give away the base game and then hopefully get more people involved?
If I remember correctly as well, they will get a fee for that from Sony because that.
Oh, do they? Is that how it works?
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's it. They don't just give the game.
For some reason I thought you meant on like a per download basis. But they'll get something. I think I gather it can be like either purely financial or it can be sort of promotional support for whatever's coming next.
Oh, right.
Which is interesting. But no, I just thought this was quite a cool and smart move. I mean, whether or not like the people who try it out are actually like, oh shit, this is actually great. I mean, obviously they've made a lot of changes to the game as well. So obviously the message is like, look, if you bought it at launch and didn't like it and bounced off it and traded it in, well, you've got it again now. So if you want to try, like now that they've made loads of changes, that's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, when I first heard this, I thought, wow, this is the final throw of the dice. But then, I saw a few tweets and thought, actually, no, this does make sense because exactly as I just said. I mean, the new DLC is dropping now, and the base game is pretty much like WordPress is probably the wrong way of saying it because the campaign was excellent. I actually loved the campaign, even though obviously like the amount I played afterwards sort of dwindled, but the campaign was fantastic. I thought it was the best Halo game I played in years actually. So even if you're not interested in all that hubbub and whatever Destiny is about, just the campaign alone is fantastic. So I totally recommend anyone listening to this to
for sure.
Like
that. if you're sort of intrigued by the idea of Destiny, but you don't like the sound of like the sort of high end grindy stuff, which I don't think there was too much of in Destiny 2, but either way, like Matt says, like download it and play through the campaign. You'll have a good time.
Yeah, and
there's also those people that sold it quite early on. That by the sounds of it, the updates have really changed a lot, so it'd be worth checking out.
Yeah, it's people like me. I mean, I've just downloaded this, and I probably might go back and have a look because.
Nice one. Well, I mean, you know, I'm like I've already pre-ordered the DLC, so I'll be around if you want to play.
Hey, actually, Matt, didn't you buy like digitally like the most expensive one for this?
Yeah, it wasn't the most expensive, but it was up there. Yeah, I was just going to mention that. But no, what's your question, James?
No, I'm just wondering whether you're still playing at all, or what happened with that.
No. Of course he's not.
Yeah, so I've got the expensive digital version of Destiny 2, mostly because there was a fuck up with Amazon vouchers at the time, and anyway, I had spare cash, I bought it, and that's often the kiss of death. I loved Battlefield 3, and I thought, when Battlefield 4 comes out, I'm going to buy it digitally. I did that, fell off a cliff. Same happened with Destiny 2. So basically, if I buy again digitally, it's a bad sign. But what I was going to say about that is that, so I've got a game, but whenever, say for Destiny 1, when every big DLC come out in September, I often felt like it didn't matter if I had Destiny 2 or not, or Destiny or not, basically, because that felt worthless until I had the DLC. And so this basically, Destiny 2 giving away now, yes, you get a great campaign that you didn't really get in the first one. So it makes sense because the DLC is coming, but if I was still playing this now, the Destiny 2, the base game would just be worthless like tomorrow because the DLC's out.
Yeah, like if you are like if you've got like a high level character or whatever, then there's nothing left for you in the base game. That's absolutely fair.
Yeah, but again, if you're listening to this and you haven't played Destiny 2, the campaign is fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Yeah. So get on that if nothing else.
It's true. It is good. Okay. Is that for the news?
No, there's more.
Wow.
there's a lot of stuff this week. Okay, so Peggy are going to start doing a rating that will warn you about loot crates. So games are going to get a new content descriptor icon for physical releases where there's going to be like a little picture of like a hand with a credit card on it to indicate whether a title has in-app purchases. And this is going to be on any game that has the option to purchase in-game goods with real money. So it doesn't distinguish between expansions, microtransactions, or loot boxes. It's just anything that requires money. And it's weird because this in-game purchases, like as a descriptor, has already existed for like download-only games for like a long time, but now they're adding it to physical releases. But the weird thing about this from the story was when I was reading about like how many, like it says here, like Peggy said that 2 out of 5 parents say their children spend money in game. It's fine. Then it's like 8 out of 10 of those parents have agreements about spending, and 2% said they didn't monitor their spending.
What?
Which is, I know.
Fucking hell.
Well, there's those people. 1%, isn't it?
Well, no, apparently it's 2%. I mean, they're presumably those people that you see on the front of, like, the Sun or local newspapers, saying that, like, my son, like, racked up this. It's the games company's fault, for doing this, but whatever. But then also the other thing is that in Belgium, the Gaming Commission determined that loot crates in particular were, like, illegal gambling and that you couldn't do this in games. So 2K weren't happy about this, and they've now asked Belgian fans to complain about it. Because they've stripped out the ability to purchase card packs like from NBA 2K19. So they're basically saying that gamers need to get on to like the Belgian, what's it called? What was I saying before? I've forgotten. The Gaming Commission. That's the one, yeah. Get onto the Gaming Commission and like say to them, we want loot crates. Like, please give us loot crates. So yeah. There's been some developments. It's weird.
Are you going to join the protest to Downing Street in a few months' time?
It's like,
James?
Okay, we've decided this thing is gambling, which, as everyone knows, is addictive and harmful. And now that we've banned it, a load of teenagers are screaming at us to put it back in. Like, no, that just proves their point. That does.
Yeah.
Fucking,
I mean,
yeah.
I still, we've said all we can about loot crates in the summer drought of 2018.
I would love to see a massive march through a city though, where everyone's like, "What do we want?"
Loot crates, all the ability to lose a lot of money on randomised items. Yeah. When do we want it? Now.
It'll be great to see that, but it wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Okay, another 2 quick quick ones. So Battlefield 5 has been delayed for a month. It was supposed to come out on the 19th of October between Black Ops 4 and Red Dead Redemption 2, but now it's coming out on the 20th of November. And according to Eurogamer, where I may have sourced this story from, pre-orders for Battlefield 5 are like way below expectations. And
yes, I heard the same story a little while ago that the actual pre-orders have been down. I wonder if that's in line with... Well, I assume that's not in line with the market then, because part of me thinks surely pre-orders are down anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, why would you pre-order games now that, like, with the increase of digital downloads?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, right? For those of you that you know didn't buy games during this time,
or you weren't alive,
pre-ordering was a genuine thing that you needed to do because some games went out of stock.
And Woolworths only got 2 copies in.
Yeah, like the games did go out of stock, and you were just like, right, okay, make sure that you pre-order so that you're there day one and you're not scrambling around the local supermarket trying
to the local Tandy.
trying to gather up a copy of the game. That was a legitimate concern at one point.
Yeah, the electronics boutique.
But it's
but like,
get out.
Right, that's enough. Yeah, but like these days, it's especially with digital downloads taking precedent. It's kind of not needed. So I would suspect that's gone down anyway, but for this to be an actual story and it to be reported on, I'm assuming it's lower than sort of the market trend in terms of pre-orders going down. As for the delay, there's a lot of people saying, well, they're trying to avoid Red Dead, aren't they? And I was thinking, if that was the case, they probably would have delayed it, like they would have announced the delay a little bit earlier, I thought. Like they wouldn't have just put this date out everywhere and then right towards the end gone, oh no, Red Dead. Like you've known when Red Dead's coming out for a while now. I'm not convinced that that's the reason.
I doubt that they're scared of Black Ops 4, to be honest. I mean, is that something? Because I don't.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. Is that still a massive thing?
Of course, it fucking is.
Loads. I think it's a very different audience now.
Yeah, I mean, every time you read the stories about how poorly Call of Duty did that this year, it's like,
it's still millions,
they only sold 15 million copies or so stupid like that. And you're just like, oh, right, okay, only. Which obviously is lower than they're used to, but it's nowhere near a failure. So, they've got to be concerned with what Call of Duty is doing. But again, I don't think that's the reason.
I mean, sorry, James.
Well, they've also said, I mean, EA have said that they're going to use the time to continue polishing the game, but also it's not clear when because they announced that Battle Royale mode, and that's not, it's not clear whether that's coming at launch or not, or how long that's going to be.
That seems like a plausible reason for delaying this game. That maybe they're adding this huge new mode in, and it's not quite ready yet. That seems like more of a reason why they would delay this game. Maybe they thought
it's better to have it launched than not have it and wait a month. It's better to delay it, have a big bang.
Definitely having it at launch would be better, especially because Black Ops 4 is going to have it from the off, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it'd look a bit weird if you didn't. If it's like, oh, this is coming later.
But also, but Battlefield 4, that had such a shitty first 2 to 3 months. Like they need to make sure that's nailed down. If it fucks up again like Battlefield 4, that's the end of this. Well,
there's been games. There's been Battlefield games since. Battlefield.
That's not going anywhere. That series.
No. What I mean is that I'm pretty sure Battlefield 1 was fine at launch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember there being.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right. I don't remember hearing much about that.
I mean, this is going to be a really interesting Christmas and winter with this, isn't it? Because this is the first year really where you've got Fortnite, which has taken all before it, and then this is the first year when these games are really coming up against that. They were out last year, it's true, but this year it really feels like they've hit the mainstream and all that kind of thing. Are people going to move back over?
This is the crazy thing about the whole game as a service stuff. We're seeing it more and more now, and it seems to be that people are more interested in sticking with a game for a longer time if the content continues to come. The downside to that is that there ain't a lot of space. There's less space for new games or newly released games because some people are just happy playing Fortnite all the time.
Yeah, and the thing is, Epic have been basically absolutely killing it in terms of new content, in terms of intrigue for a new season, with all the stuff they poured over the last 5 seasons of Fortnite. It's picking up the last 2 or 3. That they are keeping it exciting. Every week there's a new mystery or some random thing that's happening in Fortnite, so that is keeping people engaged.
And I mean, it's not really relevant to this story because it's about the delay rather than how successful that game's going to be. But I think it's interesting to note. Yeah.
Okay, last story is that PES 2019 physical sales are down 42% on last year.
This is mad. This is mad.
This feels like we're coming towards the end.
It is only physical, so it doesn't count digital as well, but that's still quite a lot. And because they lost the rights to the Champions League, didn't they? And Europa League and everything. So do you reckon that's a reason?
It's got nothing to do with that.
No. It's nothing to do with that, no?
No, I don't think it's got anything to do with that.
There'll be a very, very small element to do with that, but it's just one of a number of things. I don't know.
I feel that sort of drop in sales is not down to just that. When you buy PES, you're not going in for it for the licenses. No chance. Look, I read a review of PES 2019. I think it was yesterday or it might have been this morning. And I was reading it going, this is the review that I wrote for a PES 4 years ago. We know what the problem is with PES.
Sorry, was it Philip Musin who wrote that review? Or
I don't know, was it? It was the Eurogame one.
Great gag there. Yeah.
I don't know who Philip Musin is.
Don't worry about it. It's the IGN guy, Dave.
Oh, right. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, that was a really good gag. Fuck. Sorry, man. Shows how fickle the internet is. I've not heard his name for ages.
No, the internet.
Okay. It was just. It's like such an. We've known what the problem is for far too long, and they've not addressed it. And I'm pretty sure they know what the problem is because it's their fault to see. You know, the game modes are just not up to scratch. The stuff that happens off the pitch is just not up to scratch. And you know, I saw even John Denton, who is PES's biggest fan, was going, I'm just not going to buy it this year because I'll buy it, I'll play it for a few months and there's nothing to keep me coming back. Like, it plays an incredible game of football, we all know that, but it's so far behind what not just football games are at this point, but any game is at this point. Like, the menu systems are shit, the online code is crap, it fails in so many areas that I'm not surprised to see it dip, and I genuinely think there'll be another PES next year. I do. I'm pretty confident there'll be another PES next year. It's the year after, or when we finally move over to a new generation. That's when it will be dead because they can't keep putting these games out and not addressing the fundamental flaws of the game. It's gone on for way too long now, and there's always been part of me that's thinking there's going to be a new PES and it's going to resolve all this shit, and then the next year's one comes out and the reviews are exactly the same. It's a dream to play, it's beautiful when you're playing with your mates or whatever. Take it online, it's shit. The game modes are shit. But
you see, it's
got
a
nothing
shame
to do with the licenses.
It's unlikely though that it's going to improve because like Konami don't care about games, do they anymore? Like really, and I doubt they're going to put like a whole ton of money that they probably need to really update it and make it like better.
Do they need to though? Do they? Is it an insane amount of money they need to put these modes together?
Well, I don't know. It's modes and it's like the presentation and all that because it does need all of that stuff. It's needed work
but
for
that's
such a
never
long
going to change.
time.
I mean, PES has been the same since it was ISS back in the PS1 days, and and it played amazing then. It was the best football game, but it never had the graphics, never had the licenses. It doesn't have them now, but because FIFA's improved so much over recent years, and obviously so online focused with new modes and FIFA Ultimate Team and stuff.
Compared to FIFA, the game modes and all that sort of stuff, it was fine. Like, it was comparable. Now it's just not.
It was back in those days, but it never had the graphics, the licenses. But yeah, now FIFA's just pushed on so much more, and PES hasn't. And even the amazing gameplay, the actual feel of playing football on the pitch, that isn't. It's just not enough these days. It's just so sad, though.
They need to put in a bid for Alex Hunter, get him transferred, over to PES.
Great gag.
I don't know. We'll be saying the same next year. It's pointless, and it'll always have those people that can overlook the differences between FIFA and PES. In terms of, as you say, presentation and game modes.
It's a shame though, because it needs to keep existing, because it's not
shame,
good.
But the thing
it's
is,
not good if there's only FIFA.
It was a shame years ago. Now it's just frustrating as fuck. Now you're just like, there are games on lower budgets that come out with a basic menu system that works. This doesn't have that. Like, at least get to the point where I'm turning on the console and it takes me to a decent menu that I can choose what I want to do, rather than it coming up, check in network, like, and all that sort of shit. Here's what you've downloaded while you've been away, and then individually taking me through each football that's been put in the game. It's horseshit. And it's been like that for ages. Now, hands up, I haven't played PES 2019. That stuff may be gone. Reading the reviews I did, it hasn't. So it's like, yeah, I can't. It's gone from now saying it's a shame to they fucking deserve this at the moment, because they're not addressing the problems that are repeatedly being spouted about every time a new PES comes out.
We don't know if it's because they haven't. It's because of like lack of resources or whatever, or just because they're not getting anything from Konami.
Well, whatever the reason, it's still a problem, and it has been for years. They're still asking for full price for it when it comes out. Do you know what I mean? And you're not fixing the problems that we've been complaining about for years. It gets to the point where I just give up and just go, well, I'm not going to buy it then. You know what I mean? It's depressing, really. And to be honest, it would anger me more had I not got into Rocket League so much, which has completely replaced my love for football games anyway. So, fuck it right now. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it came in at number 2 in the charts. It did manage to beat GTA 5. Which, just put that. I mean, that's number 3. Number 3, GTA 5. Number 4, Crash Trilogy. Obviously,
is that when did those numbers come out?
Well, this report was this week, so this was not last week's chart.
That Shenmue was number 2.
It must have been the week before.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay,
Shenmue's not even there. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the top, basically it's like PES at 2, GTA 5, old game, Crash Trilogy, and it's like Yakuza Kiwami at 5, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, an old game, and they said PUBG is at number 7, but yeah, it's just crazy. GTA 5,
Dry
people
summer.
still buying that.
Dry summer. Okay.
That's it. That's all the news.
Cool. Should we get on to what we've been playing this week?
I'm knackered. Should we call it a night?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few interruptions during podcasting, and it's taking the wind out of ourselves a bit. Right. Sean, what you got for us?
Right, okay. Right, don't shout. I've been playing Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate.
That's all right.
I'll be quick.
I'll
be quick.
You've not spoken about it for a while, so you're all good.
Yeah. So this is the one that's come out on the Switch, which is a jazzed up version of the one that came out on the 3DS last year. And it's interesting because obviously the series has sort of come to a bit of a crossroads, because Monster Hunter World came out at the start of this year. It's very good.
Double crossroads. We're going to...
Continue, please.
It's called Double Cross in Japan.
No, it's Double Cross in Japan, and here it's Generations Ultimate.
Matt's knocking it out of the park, but no one's getting it.
This must be infuriating off guard every time, and I'm just like, oh fuck.
Sorry, Matt.
Pathetic.
So, Monster Hunter World sort of did like streamline things a bit and simplify things a little bit, but maybe that was something the series needed, as evidenced by the fact that it shifted 10 million. So, that certain things were missing from the game, but basically everyone sort of agreed that's fine. Like, it proved to be a really good way to get people into the whole Monster Hunter thing. So, yeah, when they announced this was coming to the Switch, it was a bit like, but is anyone going to give a shit? Because surely this is going to just seem a bit clunky and shit in comparison. I can't really assess that honestly, because I was already happy with what Monster Hunter was before Monster Hunter World. I'm really enjoying it, but I can just click back into the mindset of how things used to work and all the extra stuff you used to have to do before World came along, and like I say, sort of streamline things a bit. So I'm really enjoying it. What I can definitely say is that it's a lot funnier than World was. Like, it reminded me that Monster Hunter used to be quite funny. Like, there's shitloads of text that you have to skip through, so you actually end up missing a lot of the jokes because sometimes you do get a bit fed up. But yeah, there's some genuinely decent humour there. There's a lot of charm in it. And fucking hell, the colours, it's so bright and vivid, and and it just reminded me that when that first trailer for Monster Hunter World was shown, everyone was a bit like, why is it all dark and desaturated and weird? But you just sort of got used to it. But now going back to one of the, it's a new release, but an older game, it is like, fuck, this is so bright and nice. So it's been cool. Like it's as a long-time series fan, it does just feel like swings and roundabouts. Like it's gained as much as it's lost, except it's gained like millions of new players with Monster Hunter World. Like Generations Ultimate is not going to do those numbers. But I do wonder if Capcom are seeing this as like a bit of a litmus test, because they've now got to decide like what the series does next. Because if this is a series that does have a future on, the Switch and the PS4 and the Xbox and PC, do they try and marry that all up, and do they come up with something that's like halfway between World and Generations, or do they carry on just like, no, they're two separate strands completely? I don't know.
It wasn't loads of big things about World. It was loads of quality of life improvements, loads of streamlining things.
Yeah.
Like if they were to put those into this, would this not just be World, or does this do different things on top of the quality of life improvements?
It's like I don't see why you couldn't put those quality of life improvements into like a quote unquote old style Monster Hunter game. Like the stuff that World did that like a Switch definitely couldn't is it had like a sort of persistent online thing, like so you had like daily login bonuses, and every time you loaded the game up, it would put you like in a lobby with other people. Like it's then up to you like who you actually play with, if anyone. You can just play solo, but like with the like this new one on the Switch and the older Monster Hunter games, it was like you load the game up and you're in single player until you like explicitly choose to go into a multiplayer lobby. So it was a bit more old fashioned in that sense. But like none of that is like what made World as good as it was. Like I could still sort of take all, like I don't need a daily login bonus from a Monster Hunter game. Like that's just not really necessary. So, I don't know. It's just going to be really interesting to see what they do next. I wonder if they're going to like continue with it being two strands, because I think the old style ones are going to be cheap to make, and this like Japan still loves them, and they do like all right in the West. But then I think most of the money is going to go into like Monster Hunter World 2. I would like it if they just combined them and like the Switch version just sort of looked a bit worse. Like I'd be quite happy with that, because it is really nice being able to play it on the go and on the toilet and everything. Plus, like because Generations Ultimate doesn't have this persistent online stuff, you can pause it when you're playing on your own, which is just not an option in World. And it is like, which is like with having a baby, that is the main reason that I've not put as much time into World as I would have liked to. Whereas, like over the coming months, we'll see like how much time I put into Generations, I guess. So yeah, it's good. I don't know.
As a fan, would you accept it if they said, "Okay, no, we're just going full on World now"?
I wouldn't blame them just because of how well World has done.
But would you be able to live with that? Yeah,
because it's been really nice, like just seeing loads of people getting into Monster Hunter as a result, like. Because, it has been an awkward series for a long time. Like, for everything that's good about it, you do have to... Like, it took me, like, 3 different Monster Hunter games to, like, get my head around it. Which is partly because they did improve over time at introducing you to them, but partly because, like, you just had to bounce off several of them before it, like, started to make sense. Which is ridiculous. Like, that, that is appalling. Whereas so many people, World was their first Monster Hunter game and they loved it. So, obviously, they've done something right.
But it would be great to have a Monster Hunter game on Switch.
Yeah.
That
wasn't awkward.
That takes a lot of the things that people who played World enjoyed so much.
Exactly, and that,
etc. The streamlining.
And that is not impossible by any means. So, yeah. Fascinated to see where they go next.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What else? Donut County.
What is this?
Because I saw screens and I was like, I don't even know what type of game this is.
Well, interestingly enough, this is a game that was inspired by a Peter Molyneux tweet.
Sorry, just to remind you, that's the man that everyone was saying they'll never listen to the show again if he's on. That guy
from the
he inspired this game.
Yeah, or vice versa.
So he has
inspired this critically acclaimed game.
He did. So for those who don't know, the Peter Molyneux Twitter account is a Peter Molyneux parody, and he just, I mean, it was it always just weird game ideas, or did he? I can't remember.
Yeah. And I mean, the history of it is it started off. I can't remember what he called himself. I think it was just called himself Capone Adam.
Right.
And he used to do features for Joypod where he would come up with these ridiculous game ideas. And they were just, they were half-baked and they were based on nothing. And the joke was that by the end of him describing what the game was, he'd lost all passion about the initial idea. And then obviously when Peter Molyneux was sort of becoming known as this guy that would just constantly lie about games and suggest like he would say, what happens if you're not opening doors in games but you are the door? Is that sort of, he went for a phase of just coming out with all this weird shit, and then Capone set up a parody account of him which later became more followed than his actual official account, Peter Molyneux's real account. It was class. Sorry.
I think it was like years ago. He just tweeted like, "Oh yeah, a game where you are a hole in the ground and you move the hole around and swallow things," and that is what this game is. It is quite charming. There's been a lot of comparisons to Katamari Damacy, and I sort of get it because it is just like, so you literally you have this hole in the ground which you move around and things fall in it. The more things that fall in it, hole gets bigger. And then bigger things can fall in it. And there's like an encyclopedia where you can look up all the things you've swallowed with the hole, and there's like funny little descriptions for them and stuff. And there's like the graphics are really nice. It's really cute, sort of low polygon style, and it's fine. I'm not loving it yet. It's like it sort of sells itself as a puzzle game, and yet so many levels there'll be like a slight quirk, but not like calling them puzzles seems like a real stretch. Like, I mean, I've put about an hour into it, and I don't think it's a long game. And it just, I don't know, for me, it just hasn't done a huge amount. So, like, one example is that, you'd be doing a level where there's like a barbecue and there's a bird stood on it, and he's like picking up the coals and chucking them onto the floor. And then one of the coals falls in your hole, and then that makes fire blast out of the hole, which you then use to burn some trees and get the fruit off them. And you're just like, well, that's not a puzzle, is it? That's just like,
I just did something.
Yeah, so I did that. And then, they're just these like sort of funny little interactions. There's a level with all rabbits, and every 2 rabbits you get in the hole, they shag in the hole and create more rabbits. And it's... So it's fine, but it's not taxing in any way. Like, every level is just move the hole around. What can I fit in the hole? Oh, I can fit these small things in. Oh, I've eaten enough small things now. Now I can put something bigger in it. Oh, I've finished the level. I feel like I'm missing something because people seem to be loving this, but
I've heard good things.
Yeah,
but then I've also heard that it's more Nobby Boy than Katamari Damacy.
See, that would be fine, but the levels are so short. Like literally some of them you can be done in like a minute. And you're just like, oh, was that it? Right, okay.
That does sound bizarre.
Yeah. And like I say, it's beautifully presented. The soundtrack's wicked. And like I say, and it's kind of funny. I just, it's from what I've played so far, it's barely a video game. I've bought it on the PS4. It's on iOS as well. And like as a phone game, so it's just, it's like more of a toy than a game. That's probably really cool, but to have spent a tenner on it to play on the PS4, don't know. I mean, I'll persevere, but yeah.
It doesn't sound like you will, to be honest.
Maybe not.
You seem really disappointed with it. You're trying to be fair, but you just can't be.
It's just one of those where it's like, I assume I must be missing something so far because... everyone seems to be raving about it.
Oh, so, do you know what this reminds me of? That Onion Hotel game that you were banging on about.
That's good, man.
Because, I know you say that, right? Yeah. But when I played that, I was like, I'm just tapping the screen.
Tapping onions.
I'm not enjoying these cutscenes. So what am I doing this for? It was, and then you were like, no, the cutscenes are great. And I'm like, right, I'm definitely just not getting it then. Because I don't understand what's
fair
going
enough.
on.
It's a fucking weird game.
It is.
Yeah, last one. Into the Breach. So this was like surprise announced at. There was another Nintendo Direct this week, wasn't there? Where they just did like
they just did
another. Yeah, they just did another shitload of indie games.
Yeah, I thought it was really disappointing.
It wasn't great, was it? It was.
Did you think it was disappointing as well, James?
Yeah, I thought it wasn't that interesting.
I didn't know if I was just in a bad mood or not because I watched it and I was like, "There's nothing here that looks interesting to me."
Towerfall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it's
obviously
old as fuck, but like, 4-player Towerfall with Joy-Cons, brilliant.
Yeah, but I've played 4-player Towerfall with DualShocks. Like, okay, it's good that a game that good is coming out for a system like that, but you couldn't play Towerfall on that fucking screen.
That's
You'd
true,
have to play on TV.
Well. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's a game that I've played hundreds of hours of, it's not something that I'm.
It's one of those that I've never I've had like one 4-player session on it, but I had to go to like an actual event for that to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, because I mean, when we get together, Towerfall's always on at some point. When me and my mates get together, that goes on at some point during the night. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that we've all got it on our PS4 because it was on PS Plus and
true,
and all that sort of stuff. So if we've got it and we're going to be playing it on the TV anyway, we're going to be using DualShocks.
Yeah. That point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they announced that Into the Breach was out now. So this has been on PC for a bit, and it is a turn-based strategy game with mechs in it. So it ticks a lot of boxes for me. It's fucking hard though. So the hook of it is that basically so you have the ability to time travel, but it's really limited. So the game starts with your main character being like, right, we fucked it again, let's go back. So Earth's been invaded, Earth's mostly been flooded, and there's a couple of islands left, and now it's been invaded by these giant insects. And it's it's sort of a roguelike, so it's sort of randomly generated every time you play, and so every time you fuck up and get game over, it's basically your main pilot is just right, we fucked it, let's go back and try again. And it's so it's on a grid, and when I say it's turn based, so enemies move, then you move. The trick is that every turn, you are told what the enemies are going to do. So there'll be all these insects, and it's right, he's going to attack this building. He's moved here, and now he's going to attack this unit, and then it's all about you countering what the enemies are doing. You would think that being told exactly what the enemies are going to do would make it easy, because surely you just move everyone out of the way and everything's fine. But it's not. It's really difficult. You're trying to protect all these buildings because they each building generates power for you, and basically if you lose too many buildings, you can't power your mechs anymore and you get game over. And that's a cumulative thing between levels. So if you lose 5 buildings on your first level, you can only lose another 2 on the next one. And you can recover them a bit by fulfilling certain objectives, but again, it's quite difficult. And most attacks move units around. So if an enemy's next to a building and they're going to attack the building and you want to protect the building, you've got to make sure that your attack doesn't push them into the building, because that will damage the building as well. But similarly, you can have situations where it's right, I want to save this building or this unit or whatever, and I can do an attack. If I drop an artillery shell next to him, it's not going to damage him, but it's going to move him out of the way, and it's going to resolve the situation. And it's just that just gets really fucking complex when you've got 3 units of your own, and then can be fucking half a dozen enemies all moving around, and it's just trying to manage that movement and how your attacks can move stuff around. But then so you got to be careful that if I punch this enemy with this mech, it'll do 2 damage to him, but then it'll push him over onto this square where then he's in the he can then shoot a building or whatever. And it's just so much to take in. You can spend 10 minutes just doing one turn on it, because you're just right, well, hang on, no, fucking hell, if he moves here, then this will do this, and then that can do that. And it is so complicated.
Do you think that's something that's going to improve, or it will decrease as you know more about the game, so you're instantly able to say, okay, I can see building there, 2 mechs there, I know that this is probably what's going to happen?
I think, you do get better at reading it and understanding how to deal with situations. It's really easy at first to just think you know what you're doing and then land yourself in really shitty situations. And I'm already sort of getting out of that. However, I have decided I should really just play on easy mode. Like, it defaults to normal and it says like, oh, this is the usual sort of, this is the intended experience and should be interesting for newcomers and veterans alike. And you sort of think, I don't know if I believe that. And you knock it down to easy and it's like, oh yeah, so it halves like the enemy spawn rate. But your score at the end is cut in half. And at times, think, oh, well, I don't want a lower score. That'd be shit. And then later on, you sort of think, I don't give a shit what score I get. I don't give the fuck about the score. Like, oh no, I'm not going to get on the leaderboards. Like, it's not. So I've started playing on easy, and I am enjoying it a lot more. Like, I assume I might get to a point where I'll step it up to normal again at some point, but. Like, it's so far,
you won't. If you don't do it at the start, mate, like, it's... do you know what I mean? It'll suddenly seem even harder when you turn it up later on.
Yeah, maybe.
In the game.
Like, So the game's split up into, like, 4 islands, and now that I've switched to easy, I've completed the first island, but starting the second one, it's already quite, it's challenging again. So, yeah, maybe I'm just going to stick on easy for the rest of it. Who cares? It's a fucking smart game. Really hard, but I'm enjoying the fuck out of it.
Yeah, I know. This came out in like February, didn't it? I know it got like rave reviews at the time, and it looked great. But yeah,
but it was PC only.
I wanted to wait for a Switch version, but
it was one of these ones where I don't think they announced that a Switch version was coming, but everyone was just like, "Oh, come on, it's perfect, do it." So they did. Like, visually, it's quite drab. Functional at best, I think. Is like the units like barely, like whenever they move around, there's like literally no animation. They just sort of slide around on the board. But I mean, that's not why you play a game like this, I suppose.
I'll be honest, I don't know why you would play a game like this. 10 minutes for one move. I don't know where you get the patience from, to be honest with you.
It's because for that 10 minutes, like, you're constantly mulling stuff over. Like, you're not just like, it's an active 10 minutes,
Yeah, but I don't think I've got the mental capabilities to mull things over. I'm just like, fuck it. Let's see what happens.
Is there any similarity to like Advance Wars, like in style at all, or is it
not
really different?
No, other than it literally being a turn-based strategy game.
Not interested then.
I think you'll enjoy it though. It's really good. It's not like because Advance Wars has this sort of paper, scissors, stone relationship between a lot of the units, whereas this is very much like, it's all about positioning, and it's all about how, like, this one unit will punch an enemy and it will do 2 damage but it'll knock it back, but this one is a cannon and it can fire like in a straight line, but it does less damage, and then this one is an artillery unit, so it can only attack like more than 1 square away, and whatever the shell lands on takes damage, and everything around it gets pushed away. And it's all about managing that movement and how those moves like push stuff around, basically.
James, are you excited for Wargroove? Because that's it's like an Advance Wars type game. Are you excited for that at all?
Yeah. You see, I've tried a couple of these sorts of things before, because I remember talking about one like a long time ago when we first started, which was like, they tried to do a similar thing, but it was like on iOS and stuff. But it's never quite the same. It never really is, and it's annoying because it's that series that is never going to come back, is it? It's gone now, because they only care about Fire Emblem games because they make money.
Yeah, and
it's just a bit annoying because they were special games. They were great.
But yeah, but this Wargroove looks like it's exactly another Advance Wars in exactly the same sort of style.
Is it made by Intelligent Systems?
No, but it's the best you're going to get. It looks like it.
You see, because I played Wargroove, I think it Res last year or this year? Yeah. And I just found like there were so many unit types in it.
That's also, I mean, that was one of the things. Well, not the unit types, but remember with Advance Wars, as they went on, they started to really overcomplicate it.
Yeah,
like,
and it was worse.
It made it much worse, and it was like, it was never as good as the pure, just what you had.
Yeah, I mean, in comparison, Into the Breach is very elegant in that sense, in that there's very little complication to it. Like I say, it's just all about like the positioning and movement and stuff. So I am really enjoying it. It is fucking hard though. But that's me.
Nice one.
Cool. Matt, let's go to you next.
Yeah, I haven't played much this week, but I'm carrying on with The Witcher 3. Obviously,
I saw you on that the other night.
Yeah. I played
I was like,
two or three
Matt's
nights.
on The Witcher 3.
Yeah. I've got past the Griffin mission. Was that one you said I had to do that one?
You've done the tutorial. Yep.
Yeah, I've done the tutorial, yeah. And I've gone to like the next city after that. And I'm really enjoying it. I mean, there's a lot to get your head around. There's like, it feels like there's a lot of systems, and even like the menus I'm not finding really, really intuitive, but it obviously looks great. It makes my Xbox so loud, it is ridiculous. I know last week we said the Xbox was really quiet, and it is generally really, really quiet and silent mostly, but yeah, this was so loud, even with headphones on, I could still hear it.
Is it Xbox One enhanced? One X,
yeah. It's 4K on the One X. But I maybe I misread this, but I swear I read somewhere that people saying a lot of the games that were like the old One games that have been upscaled, those are the ones that make your machine the loudest. And it's certainly the case with Witcher 3. It's loud as fuck. But yeah,
this is worrying me because I nearly bought an X the other day, and the main reason I want to buy one is so that it's not. I can just play a machine that's not that loud. But now you're telling me it is. You said it was even louder than your PS4.
Yeah, it was ridiculously loud. But it's loud as it's been with The Witcher 3. Apart from that, it's been fine. So I don't know what to say to you. But anyway, The Witcher 3 is great fun. It's sort of surprising in many ways that I haven't played more of these sorts of games. When I loved. I really enjoy Game of Thrones, the TV show. I like Lord of the Rings back in the day. So you think I like these like huge sprawling RPGs, and even like something like the Banner Saga, which obviously is much smaller and a totally different style of game. That also has these huge like stories with multiple different characters. And so The Witcher 3 should be right up my street. And actually, I'm surprised I haven't played it up to now. But
I'm not. It's longer than 3 hours long, Matt. That seems to be your attention.
I finished loads of games recently. Most of them are short, admittedly.
Yeah, and most of them you spent ages. It took ages to do that, but.
Regardless, I'm really enjoying it. There was one funny bit. Did you play the bit, Dave, or any of you, I guess, where after the Griffin, after you leave like White Orchard, whatever it is, you go to like the next city, and then you meet this king who needs you to find this. Find this woman. There's this
this is the Bloody Baron quest.
Oh, is it?
No, I don't think so. No, he's talking about the actual king who wants you to find Ciri, right?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, God, yeah.
So he wants you to find Ciri, but there's a bit basically before then where Geralt goes into his room. He's forced to have a shave because beards are dirty or whatever, and then this guy asks you loads of questions, and I was like. I found this on the side generally, but basically those are questions about like, okay, did you kill this person, or what happened here, or what happened there? And I was like, am I supposed to know this? And then I gradually realised that I'm basically building. I guess I'm like making decisions that happened in the previous games.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, because I sort of wish they'd sort of taken broken the fourth wall and said, look, this is what you're going to do at this point. Because I was like, what am I supposed to be answering?
if the guy turns around, listen, Witcher, listen,
I'm not in the game.
We're going to go in there,
and the
king's going to ask you all sorts of questions. But because we can't find a save file, you just answer what you want, and that'll be what's happened. All right? Okay, let's go. Then the big doors open up.
No, because
listen, Matt.
Yeah, I was in that. Something popping up saying, by the way, you haven't played the second one. But yeah, I was just like, I mean, I don't know who this Triss character is. Should I have killed her or saved her? Like, who is she? Anyway, I answered those, but I thought that was a bit confusing. But anyway, I'm definitely carrying on. I mean, I'm like to put hundreds of hours into this game, but I'm.
Did you bow?
Did I what say? I did bow. Yes.
So did I, and he mugs you off. Did he say something like...
He basically said, I can't believe a man like you would do that.
To me. Yeah. It's like, oh, fuck off, mate.
Being fucking polite. Yeah.
No. In my head, I'm thinking, look, I don't want to bow, but at the end of the day, I need his help. So I'm going to just show my respect for now, and then we'll see what happens later in the game. And he's like, what are you fucking boffing? What are you doing? It's like,
I basically bowed because Yennefer said you need to talk to this person, so I thought, she obviously knows what she's doing. But anyway, I'm enjoying it so far.
She knew what she was doing on that unicorn or whatever it was, didn't she?
What?
That was Yennefer, wasn't it?
Possibly.
Don't you have sex on a unicorn?
Spoiler.
Yeah, I
Why have I not played this game?
I'm sure he's already done that.
No, man,
there's been no
that's
sex scenes.
like a good way into the game, that.
What is? Oh, what? The sex on the unicorns?
Yeah.
Way into the game?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Sorry, mate.
For fuck. Well,
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to continue playing the game now.
Yeah, Matt and James is pre-ordering it in the background.
I was actually just looking at it on Amazon to see how much it was, but it's...
I might just Google sex on a unicorn. Watch the
He's got it as a regular search term anyway, so... Surprised it hasn't come up. Anyway, yeah, it looks great. I mean, it's obviously I've res to 4K, and believe me, my machine's loud enough to prove that fact. I'm going to carry on. There's obviously shitloads to do, but I'm actually quite excited to see where this world takes me. And having not played an RPG of this type for a long time, I guess I'm not sure if I've ever played a game like this really. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, and obviously it's Cyberpunk's like years away, so I can do the odd mission here and there, and maybe I'll get it done before Cyberpunk comes out in 2022. Apart from that, I resubbed to Game Pass because there's like a £2 a month deal, which I got, and I re-downloaded the Master Chief Collection. Now, the Master Chief Collection, I'm sure Dave will agree, this was basically one of the biggest gaming disappointments of all time for me.
Oh, God, yeah, it was shocking.
I love the Halo games. Well, the Halo 5 wasn't great, but anyway. Apart from I love the Halo games, and like, wow, there's a Master Chief Collection. It's all, every game's there, all in multiplayer modes there, and we were so excited. And that was another game I bought digitally, so there's definitely a theme here, a pattern here. I bought that, and it was a total mess for months, and we managed to get a refund. But now, in fact, this week they dropped the patch to fix a lot of the issues, or all the issues, and I re-downloaded it. It's 75 gig to download the entire thing.
I remember it was massive when it first came out as well, yeah. Like, the file size was just insane.
And so I played a bit of Halo 4, because Halo 4 is like the one Halo game I don't have many memories of, because I played it co-op with you, James, and you, Dave. And every Halo game I played prior to that, I've played like the campaign on my own. So I've watched the cutscenes, I've tried to understand the story. But I remember most of that time it's just us three laughing and chatting, and it was I didn't really pay any attention to the story at all. So I'm playing with Halo 4. But, I mean, graphically, it looks fantastic. The whole game's been up-res to 4K. And so I guess you can say, well, it's 4K, so it's bound to be good. But it's the quality of the art and the detail that obviously we wouldn't have seen when it originally came out. Although, obviously, it looked good at the time. But now it's been up-res to 4K. It just looks stunning.
I remember thinking, how is this game running on a 360? It looks stunning.
Yeah, but now, it's like the detail is just insane. And yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say in the Master Chief Collection is there's just so much there that you're almost sport by choice, and also now you can play every game. You can play any mission in any game in whatever order you want. And so rather than just I'm going to play Halo 4 and just start from the beginning, you can start at any mission. You can even start at various checkpoints within each mission. So if there's a particular bit you like, you can just go straight to that bit essentially. But yeah, I mean, I've only got some Game Pass, and I may not keep my sub for next month. But yeah, it's great to go back to it. And I really want to play some Halo 2 multiplayer and maybe some Halo 1 multiplayer. Did you get the deal, James or Dave? Did you bother that £2 thing?
I didn't.
Okay, damn. Yeah,
I've got too much to play at the moment, so
yeah, it is insane. But I've read up for I really want to try some Halo multiplayer because I want to see it working now. And actually,
we've got a whole crew that's playing that game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to do it all over that. And that's about it, really.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll get mine done. I have been so insanely addicted to Rocket League again. It's unbelievable. But there is something new to talk about. They dropped their latest update for it. This was last week, I think. And it's quite interesting the way they do it. They don't really do it with a song and dance. Well, certainly not to me anyway. It kind of just you'll go to log in. It says it needs an update. It doesn't take long to update, but then there's these little changes and you don't quite understand them. Last night, I mean, what they've done, Matt. If this doesn't get you back into Rocket League, I don't know.
I mean, this was announced like 2 weeks ago, and I do know some of the changes.
Yeah, so such a simple change. But what you do is you can set up clubs. You can set up football clubs now, basically. So you pick a name, you pick an abbreviated name, you pick team colours, and then whenever you're in a party with someone, you can send them an invite to your club, and they can accept it. So all my mates, we're now in the genuine chaps, is what we're called. And the idea is, when you're playing ranked mode, if you're playing another team that's full of people from the same club, it drops the whole blues versus orange thing, and you play in your club colours, and it makes such a big difference for some reason, because it's so simple and it's not, it's cosmetic and it's not really changing the way you're playing the game, but it just has a completely different feeling to it. And then, when you win, it comes up winners, genuine chaps, rather than just, blue team or whatever. It really does make you feel like you're in a team, and you start to buckle down and take it a little bit more seriously, especially when you see a group of other people with all, their little tags before their names, and you're playing a proper team, so everyone's playing together. That's the other thing as well. You could play a team in that game and not know if the other team were talking on Xbox Live or not, if they were just, playing with randoms like I do from time to time, or they were actually in a club. It also seems to keep track of weekly wins for your club and stuff like that. There's a whole new XP system which I don't quite understand yet, but you get XP points for playing in certain ways. And of course, I think it's Thursday. They're opening up their first sort of battle pass. They've taken what Fortnite's doing and they're applying it to Rocket League. So the idea is that it's introducing 18 new unlockable items, which you can get by just playing the game. So it's got nothing to. It seems to be moving away from the loot crate model, and it's introducing this stuff. But if you pay, I think it's £7, you then have the chance to win 38 items rather than just like the original 18. So 20 more. I think there's some other perks as well. But one of the things that it's not doing challenges, which, I mean, how you implement that into something like Rocket League, if there was a challenge, try and get 3 aerial hits in a game, it just completely ruined the game, because you'll be going into games and people just be flying around not caring about scoring goals or winning the game, but just focusing on their personal challenges. It wouldn't work in this game. But they said they're looking into ways to do that, ways they can sort of implement that into this. But I'm very, very excited, because I was never one for buying keys to open loot crates. I was never interested in that, because, I want to kind of know what I'm getting, which is stupid really, because I'm definitely buying this pass and I don't know what I'll be getting out of it. But it just, it seems like a better way of doing it. Like, I have actually got a chance to get something.
Can you, is there a way to earn enough points in game to purchase the pass, or do you have to buy it? I don't know.
I'm not too sure yet. They do say that one of the unlockables with the premium pass is keys, and you do unlock the premium pass with 10 keys. So it'd be interesting to see how many keys it kicks out at me. Because if
the patch is obviously out now, but the battle pass, whatever it's called, that's next week.
It goes live next week. But last night we played 15 to 20 games in a row with our team, and it was just that simple change made you so much more invested in the games that we were playing. It got really, really good. And I'd be interested to see, this is a cross-platform game between Xbox One and Switch. I'd be interested to see if you're going to be able to log into both, so I can play on my Xbox but then continue with the same unlockables on my Switch. I don't think that's the case, but I haven't properly looked into it yet.
But that would obviously, there'll need to be like a Rocket League account, I presume.
Yeah, but I mean that's not flashed up on my screen yet.
If that's the case, I'm going to have to stop playing on PlayStation.
You've got to play it, Matt. Oh, please.
I'm well up for it, yeah. I mean, I saw you playing a couple of nights ago, and I was playing Witcher, but I mean, now I know there's patches out, and I'm well up for that. I mean, it's great time anyway.
Definitely get
When are you going to teach me how to play, David?
Anytime you want, mate. I'm literally on it every night. Like, when I'm not doing my Shenmue streams or recording a podcast, I'm on Rocket League. Like, but it's taken over my life again. And I'm worried that this Battle Pass thing or whatever, the Rocket League Pass, is just dropping at the right time for me to just take advantage of my obsession, because, I could see myself going nuts on it. Absolutely nuts. Get on it, James. We'll play. It's good.
Yep.
It's very good. Right, okay, so I've been playing that, and I've also been playing Shenmue, been continuing my adventure of Shenmue. I think I only did one stream since we last recorded, but it was a 2-hour stream. I'm still really enjoying it, man, and that game is now starting to try and be a game, which is appreciated because it started to get a bit like, okay, just following this carrot at the end of the stick was getting a little bit frustrating. And it does that thing, we've mentioned it a few times on the podcast, where you start thinking of a game outside of playing it, and it's having that effect on me where I'm kind of thinking, right, I've done a huge bit of the puzzle stuff, so it can't be, maybe this is a spoiler, I don't know, but I've just found the other mirror, right, that I didn't even know existed, and all day at work today I was thinking, brilliant, I'm ready to push on, but at the same time I think the next stream I'm just going to walk about a lot and talk to people again, because I'm assuming I've hit another one of those checkpoints that we were talking about last week where, interactions with people progress. So I can, get some new chit-chat out of people and see some new stuff. So I think next time I'm just going to spend a day wandering about, just chatting to people and maybe training. I've barely done any training, so I want to do some of that. But that's a massive sign that I'm actually enjoying myself. Because when I'm sitting there at my desk at work and just thinking, do you know what, I can't wait to get back on that. And next time I get back on it, I'm going to do this, this and this. That's always a sign that I'm enjoying a game. I can't wait to get back on it. It had a really shitty stealth section, which
caught me.
I have been told, I did, which I've been told is the only one in both of the games. So I'm quite happy that I never have to do that again. But yeah, no, I mean, for all its faults and flaws and ridiculousness, I mean, I remember that interaction I wanted to talk to you about on the phone, James. I went up, there was people working in a warehouse, and I went up to speak to someone, and this game is loaded with people that are saying, I'm too busy, I can't talk, and, fobbing you off. But this one, a warehouse worker said, I'm sorry, I'm not able to be free yet. And I was kind of like, what, are you a slave? What is this? But, it's that stuff. Now, all right, you can slag it off and say it's poorly written, but me laughing at that stuff is totally driving me through this as well. You know what I mean? It's making me, although it's a fault, technically it's bad writing, poor voice acting, it's doing enough to keep me happy while I'm playing it. That's the entertaining side of this game. And there was a moment where I went into an antique shop, and in there was a man that knew my dad, and as badly worded as that conversation was between you and your dad's mate, it was really quite touching. And by the end of it, I was like, that was a nice moment. Shit, maybe this is having some sort of effect on me. I'm really, really looking forward to it. And the improvements people have said about Shenmue 2 has made me really look forward to trying that out. Come and join me. Come and join me and watch me play, because it's always been fun. Every stream I've done so far has been a lot of fun. So yeah, come join me.
Yeah, 2 is definitely a lot more sort of streamlined in many ways as well. I think you'll prefer that. It's I
probably will as a game, but I'm not disappointed with what I'm playing at the moment, is what I'm saying.
You've got to see if you can find the duck racing as well in Shenmue 2.
That sounds good. That sounds very, very good.
Sounds right up his street.
I couldn't find that Hippity Hop tape though, Matt.
Oh, what?
I don't know where that is. Everyone was saying
that's down. Isn't that down in the docks? You can buy that.
No, because I've checked both stores, and neither of them are selling it.
It's worth seeking out.
Is that the Funky Rhythm one? Yeah, it's
it's a slamming beat. You got to find it.
It's not as good. Nothing could be as good as the Tomato convenience store. It's just weird. I love it. Yeah, I'm well into Shenmue at the moment. This is weird. It's weird.
Cool.
Yeah. Fuck his son's a dick. Right, okay, yeah, let's do it. James?
I've got 2 things. I bought Dead Cells, and I was not going to buy this because I just thought I've just come off Hollow Knight and I don't think I can do another game.
I know
similar.
why you weren't going to buy this. Because when you were going, every time you were going off on one on Twitter about Hollow Knight, someone would say, you should play Dead Cells, it's really good. And you'd always you always come back with something a bit snarky. Like, I think it was with Andy as well. It's like, Andy was like, Dead Cells is so good. And someone went, oh yeah, it was between this or Hollow Knight. And think about it. And you were like, well, Hollow Knight's good too. And then they went, yeah, no, I'm sort of struggling to pick. Well, Hollow Knight's cheaper. It's like, yeah, all right, James, chill out, mate. So I've got a feeling that you're not going to like this on principle.
No, I do like it. It's excellent. It's a very, very good game, and I am enjoying it. But it's not like Hollow Knight at all. There's very little that's similar. I think.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was directly comparing them. It was just.
They just happened to come out a similar time. Well, not similar times, but,
two indie games that both getting highly praised at the same time. People were, I think the attitude was, well, I've only really got time and money for one indie game, which sounds stupid, but
I mean, they are both Metroidvanias as well.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. There are similarities.
All right, go on then.
It's. I mean, the thing is with this is there's things that this does a lot better than Hollow Knight, and there's things that it does worse. I feel, and the thing that the stuff that it does really well is the combat is brilliant. Like it's so good. Like to play, but the exploration side of stuff, I don't feel there is much there. I mean, you have it. Obviously, it's supposed to be like one of these like roguelike kind of things where it's like randomly generated each time, but it's not really, because they often have the same, like, not the same sort of patterns, but there's always going to be the same sort of things, obviously, so that you can progress, like in through the sections. So I don't feel the desire really to explore beyond getting just like power-ups to fight, rather than with Hollow Knight. I always felt like I was exploring because I wanted to explore and I wanted to see if there was anything interesting or cool. With this, it doesn't feel like that. It's just like I'm just doing it just to get through it, so I can get on to the next bit of combat. So, and it's weird because the main purpose is to get upgrades that then the ones that sort of persist between deaths, because it's not like with Hollow Knight where you can get your cells back, because you can't. They're gone once you're dead. They're gone. So the whole point is to try and collect as many as possible, and then you trade them in, and you get upgrades that will continue after you've died. But even though you do this, it's still a lottery each time you play what weapons you're going to get. And part of that's really good, because you can have really good runs, and then sometimes you'll just get terrible weapons, and it's not so fun. But the one thing I would say about that is that even when you get like a bad weapon set, usually by the time you've got quite a few like levels in, you can usually turn it around. Like, you usually can find other stuff, and it makes up for it. But it's just the initial, the first level when you get something rubbish, you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to go through this with this stuff. It's rubbish. It's like kind of terrible. But it's tough. I mean, I've only just beaten the first like proper boss that was on like the Black Bridge. That took me quite a while to get through. And it has the thing that is really good about it that it doesn't have, that Hollow Knight doesn't have, is it's got that just one more try thing, because each run through so far is only lasting me about 10 to 15 minutes before you die. And there's a massive instinct to just think, okay, I want to try again now, and just do the same thing like again, because the combat is really fun, and it's just so good, that is. But I just feel that overall, like the world and everything, that it's like, it's just far less interesting than Hollow Knight's world. Like, it really is. But but it definitely feels more sort of like sort of instantly engaging compared with Hollow Knight. I mean, remember when we started Hollow Knight, and it's like you're waiting about 3 or 4 hours before you really sort of like start to get into it.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's like instant. Like you get into it, and it's the combat is just really good. It's the same thing where you're like, certain upgrades work better with other ones together, and you can like sort of build up like a rhythm based on what weapons you're choosing, because you have like a primary weapon, then you have like a secondary, but then also stuff that you can throw, like you can have like grenades or like auto guns that you can like drop down, and you can find it like upgraded versions of those as you like go through the levels. But there's always this sort of like, there's this tension when you start the game between, are you going to rush through to try and get into other areas which are time, because some areas are like time limited, like you can only get there if you get there within 2 minutes or whatever, then you can like get through here, and maybe there's some good like stuff that you can pick up. Or you can just think, okay, I'm going to take it slow, and I'm going to try and like rinse the entire level and just try and find all the upgrades and stuff I can find. And it's like there's always this trade-off, and that's pretty fun as well. But yeah, it's tough, and it's one of those games I'm not sure. Like Hollow Knight, I always felt like I really wanted to see everything I could see in that. With this, I don't have that feeling really. I'm enjoying the combat, but I'm I'm going to stick with this for as long as I enjoy the combat. And once it starts to get boring, I can't see a reason why I'd really want to stick around for much longer.
James, have you ever got into a roguelike before?
No, not really. It's not really something I've really been drawn to. I don't know why.
Well, no, because you've always spoken about exploration and that being a big part of the games that you love. And it feels like the exploration in roguelikes doesn't really have that similar... Because I struggle with roguelikes as well for some reason. I tried to get into... what was that? Spelunky. And, I mean... what was that? Tumbleseed was okay, but there's still a lot that you're kind of like, I much prefer a well-designed game rather than a clever roguelike mechanic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's exactly it, because it's like, I like to feel that I've learned somewhere. That there's somewhere that you become familiar with, different locations.
Totally.
And it's like, but you can't do that with this sort of game, really. And so, sometimes when I've been playing other games that are like Metroidvania games like this, sometimes when you're not playing the game, you think about, think about the map, think about, I could try going there later, or I haven't tried whatever. You can't really do that with this kind of game, because each run is different, obviously, and although there's going to be the same sort of core points on it, they're arranged differently, so you can't really think, I might explore that next time, because it doesn't work that way. Yeah. So I don't know, for the explorer in me finds them less engaging, really.
Mm.
But for combat,
I feel the same. I feel the same when I play these games, and people will say, "But then no, you're still exploring. Surely it's better because there's more to explore and stuff." But yeah, you kind of feel that you're missing that whole I'm learning a place. I'm learning this new world, and more just okay.
Yeah, because I couldn't get on with Rogue Legacy. Did you ever play that?
No,
because that was a very similar deal. So that was like a sort of Castlevania-esque thing, but it was a roguelike. So every time you played it was a different castle, and that's exactly how I felt about that. It was like you'd have a really good run, and it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing now, and then you start another run. It's like, oh no, I don't fucking know a thing because everything's different again. And I just constantly felt wrong-footed by that.
With this, it's like, you enter each level and you're just thinking, okay, where is the trigger point for the next area? It's like, where is it being generated this time? And it's, I don't know, I just don't like that so much, but that's just my problem. But as I said, combat-wise, though, it's really good. Just very exhilarating to play. Yeah.
They announced Spelunky 2 this week, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah, I didn't play the first one.
Looks a lot like the first one. I'm not a massive Spelunky fan, so I'm probably just not looking for the right things. But visually, looks very similar.
That's the other thing with this, because I don't feel this looks that nice either. Yeah. Compared with Hollow Knight, I think.
Every video I've seen, I thought it looks really good.
Well, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's the pixel style, all that kind of thing. I didn't think
that was disappointing, but for me it was more the animations and the action looks insane.
There is a lot of good stuff with that, actually. There's a lot of good reaction stuff as well that your character does, the way it moves and everything, and it finds this massive pile of dead bodies. It's like, oh, these all look like me, and it's like, oh, because they are you, it's this kind of thing, and it's like there's lots of good stuff like that, which is pretty good. I mean, it's weird because I've been playing this and I've been thinking about you, Matt, actually, because you were saying about starting something like Hollow Knight or whatever like that. But I'd probably recommend this to you over Hollow Knight, actually.
Yeah, well, why is that?
I think you'd enjoy this more because it's much more immediate, and it's I feel it's less of a thing.
It always sounds like a dig.
And more appeal to your feeble mind.
Yeah, you stupid idiot.
to your need to for instant gratification, and you could play this quite quickly and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean,
only James can make a game recommendation sound like a fucking insult.
Thank you. I think. I think both on the list definitely. But
I think you'd enjoy this. It's good. It's a good game.
My tiny mind.
Yeah.
Is that it?
So, no, the only other game I've been playing, which I'm not going to talk about extensively, is because I've been playing Yakuza Kiwami 2.
No.
Well, that's the thing, because I'm probably getting into it now, and it's the usual mix of the interesting story stuff, wacky side missions, etc. It's the only thing that I'm less keen on is that it's the combat system's the same as in Kiwami. I preferred the system they used in Zero. I thought that was better, but I don't know, I'm still loving it, obviously, because it's Yakuza, and I know it's just more of the same, and which is great for someone like me. But don't buy it, Dave. Is all I can say really. Because
no, I probably won't. Yeah. Is it slow?
No, I wouldn't say so. But then that's just that's.
How are you getting on with Yakuza, Sean?
Fine. Well, I haven't been back to it yet, Dave.
There we go. There we go. Every week I'll ask because.
Do you know that's the thing? I was literally like Sunday night. I had like a bit of free time. I was like, I can either put an hour into Donut County or I can play Yakuza. And I thought, no, I want to do Donut County because it's new. And I thought I am going to get shit from Dave though for not playing Yakuza.
I played Donut County because fucking Yakuza is a bit shit, isn't it? I know. I'm not supposed to think that, but it's a little bit, isn't it?
Not rising to it.
I am going to go back. It's just because I know it's a big time investment and I'm short on time at the moment. So just sort of indie things
it's
are
20
taking
hours, Sean. You could do it in 20 hours.
It? Okay, I thought it was like a proper.
But it doesn't
sort
get
of
good after. It's like 8 hours apparently.
If you focus just on the main story, you can do it in about 20,
literally didn't do that.
25. Yeah.
I did the band mission. It was crap. Right. Okay. We good?
Yep. That's
good. Right, let's get on to emails and tweets and things.
Right. Fuck. Are we going to filter these down a bit, or should we just... I'll just see how we go.
Filter them.
Well, I mean, see how we go.
I've already filtered them to an extent, but I was just... still end up with quite a few decent ones.
More.
We've had to cut out so much from this recording that we might even make it onto Dash Radio.
Fingers crossed.
Come on, Sean. Last one. Go on.
No, I'm going to skip that one because we bait. It's the guy asking about whether we should get an Xbox One X or not, and I know we've sort of already. Dave's already been through that.
This is bitter this week. This is a bitter subject.
It's David Trapmore says this is a question to everyone, but particularly Sean as a newish dad. Do you find that you no longer have the energy or drive to play new games, and instead just play something mentally less taxing and familiar? I recently picked up Divinity Original Sin 2 on the PS4 after the rave reviews when it released for the PC last year and the positive buzz around the console version. But after receiving it and putting it in my PS4, I cannot sum up the energy to start it, knowing how long, complicated and involved it's going to be as a 100-plus hour RPG. My enthusiasm and drive to play it after reading so many great reviews has disappeared, and instead I'm eagerly awaiting Hyperlight Drifter coming out on the Switch, a game I've already completed 3 times on 2 different platforms. I've lost count of the amount of times I've done this over the last few years, either returning the game or just leaving it on the shelf to play later, which never happens. Regards, David Trapmore. I get that to an extent. Like, I do wonder if this is like, the whole Destiny 2 thing, me enjoying it as much as I do, is that sort of like, it's like putting on an old pair of trainers thing. There's a weird comfort to it. I don't
remind you of the good times.
Yeah. Like, I don't always need something new. And like, I have been a nightmare for just buying games and just not giving them like the proper time that they deserve. So I guess that is kind of a thing. Any of you guys been through this? Does it get better, or am I alone?
No, it gets worse.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
I did not have that at all when Harry was born. So, I mean, especially at that age, it was totally fine, because the only thing that I did have was that I was very self-conscious of the fact that I could be gaming and at any time that could just stop because the baby's crying. And that's incredibly frustrating for people that you're playing with, because especially when you're playing 2-on-2 co-op FIFA and you're just like, okay, you're just going to have to play 2 people on your own while my character just stands there. It's a bit of a ball ache. But no, what I found, Sean, is that playing more violent games and stuff like that, anything with killing in it, really, it becomes something you do right at the end of the day, as opposed to, like, so if Joe wanted a bath or something in the evening before Harry came along, or when he was a really young baby and wasn't actually watching the screen, I would stick a violent game on because it'd be fine. But these days you just can't do that until he's definitely abed. And so like the huge long RPGs, I just know that my time is for those sort of games is so limited now that I'd struggle to really make a dent in it. But I mean, whereas now, like, I can just, one of the reasons why I've been hammering Rocket League is that Harry loves watching it. Like, he doesn't like playing it because he can't really do it, but he just loves watching me play it and cheering on the match and talking about the match and stuff. So it's opened up a hell of a lot of game time on that. And that's why I've put so much time into Mario Odyssey and Mario Kart 8. So that side of things, yeah, you'll be fine. But when it comes to the games he's describing, yeah, that just gets limited, and it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Like, James, what's your thought on playing games like that when the kids are about? Are you just like flat out no, or are you a little bit more liberal with it?
I just wait until they've gone to bed. And mostly the only stuff that I play when they're like up is just Switch stuff that's like fine, because it's I don't switch the PS4 on because then like Ashley wants to start playing it as well, and it's just like hassle. So I just play Switch. But I mean, one of the things that has changed for me, like after I had kids with this, has been, I've said before, like I always felt like I had to like get as much out of a game as possible and just like 100% stuff and all that kind of thing. I've given up on that with a lot of games now. Now I just feel just like mainlining the game. If I'm enjoying it, that's fine. I don't need to find everything in this game ever, with the exception of like like Mario Odyssey. Because I just wanted to do that because it was an amazing game. But other stuff now, I don't think there's no way I haven't got the time to do that anymore. I just want to get what I can out of this.
Did you properly 100% Mario Odyssey then?
Well, I got like 999 like power moons and all that kind of stuff.
Really.
I did have all the. I did it just before you did. I remember because we had a discussion about it. Yeah, and I mean I had all the costumes as well, but not anymore because they just keep releasing those every
but
every couple of weeks. There seems to be new ones.
It's so easy to build up coins now in that game with Balloon World.
You do it through the Balloon World, yeah.
Yeah, oh god, yeah. You get so many that that's not an issue anymore. So.
But I do get, the other thing, I still play like a lot of games, obviously, but often at the moment, especially when my wife was away and I just had the kids on my own, I didn't play as much because in the evening I just want to watch something. I just can't be bothered to like pick up a controller tonight. It's just, I can't bother to use the mental energy.
I've like when Joe's going to bed, the PlayStation or the Xbox is definitely going on. I've never had the feeling that I'd rather just watch something.
Yeah, I don't know. When I had the two kids just on my own, I just felt so tired. That's what I wanted to do. It was horrible. But yeah,
all right.
Back to school tomorrow. Can't wait.
With Nail and Pie says, "Hello, I'm getting married in less than 2 weeks, and I'm as nervous about it as I am excited. Any advice?"
I've met this. I've met with Nail and Pie and his better half, and you'll be fine. You seem very, very happy every time I meet you. But as for the wedding itself, just enjoy it. Because it is such it's genuinely one of the best days of my life. That it was so good, and you could so easily get caught up in the drama around the wedding, like in terms of this person not liking this person, all this sort of stuff, or things going wrong on the day, which things inevitably go wrong because there's so many chances for little bits and pieces to go wrong. But if you just let that shit roll off your back and just say, look, you can't really change things now. If things go wrong, they go wrong. As long as she turns up and you have a good time, then that's what it's all about. It's so good. I mean, especially after all the shit you go through leading up to it. The stress, the organising, the money, all of that stuff. The least you can do is just go in with the mindset of just not worrying about anything and just enjoying the day. Then you'll have a banger.
Yeah, it's like, it is easy to worry about things going wrong, but like, just remember that assuming, you've got your invitations right, you are literally surrounded by people who love and support you and want you to have a good day. Like, if something goes wrong, no one's just going to sit around being like, oh, well, I guess that went wrong. Like, people will chip in and they will help. And you can, like, if you've got all your mates around you, like my wedding, so we had an outdoor ceremony. About 10 minutes before it's due to start, realised all the chairs were covered in fucking flies.
Yep.
Don't know why. So I was just like, right, lads, who wants to help me clear some flies off the fucking chairs? And there must have been about 5 or 6 of us just like fucking like brushing all the fucking seats off in our suits.
I can't say that when you asked us to do that, I was going, you know what, he's a good friend, I just want him to have a good day. I'm going, this is fucking disgraceful.
But the point is, you did it and I had a good day. So
exactly. And I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
My other tip is, like, just get the speeches out of the way before the food, because I would not have been able to enjoy my dinner if I knew I had to do a speech after it, because I hate public speaking. So yeah, that worked out well for me. But
also, easiest crowd in the world. That
yeah.
Everyone just wants to laugh at you. So
everyone's basically laughing just because they're having such a nice day anyway. And so
because they're fucking hammered, Matt. Let's get to the point. Everyone's pissed up,
especially by that point. Especially if it's after the meal. Yeah, God.
Yeah.
I mean, I was drunk doing my wedding speech because we were literally doing Jaeger bombs before we walked into the wedding breakfast. Just outside, the bloke gave us like a couple of Jaeger bombs, and there's a bit in the video, right, of our wedding. You could see us walking into the place where everyone's sitting down to eat, and us just walking off in the wrong direction to where we were supposed to be sitting because we were pissed. Yeah, no, it's great. You love it.
Yeah, it'd be fucking amazing. So yeah, they were the emails. If you want to send us one, it's thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. On the other hand, if you want to send us a tweet at ComputerGamePod, do that. A theme.
Well, can we just go back to that email again?
Which one?
How long did he say he goes till he gets married?
2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks, he says.
Oh, less than 2 weeks. So he will be at EGX for our live show then. That's good.
Thank fuck.
Because I thought he said 3 weeks, and I was like, if he's getting married the day of our live show,
the advice is reschedule the wedding.
Right, Athene says, late on Friday, I wiped out all the work I'd done that week and have spent this morning trying to repair the damage. What's the worst mistake you've made at work?
Oh my God, I don't even think I'm legally allowed to say.
So
I have made some mistakes that are so bad that I've nearly thrown up on my keyboard. The last one I made about 3 months ago, I've never felt so bad in all my life. Like, honestly, I nearly threw up on my keyboard. And then I walked in and I was shaking as I was talking to my boss about it. Yeah, that was not a good moment. Still ongoing. The waves are still going from that one. I genuinely thought he was just going to go, well, you're fired. There and then. But no, it all worked. Well, sort of all worked out in the end.
One time... Go on.
No, go on, Sean.
Oh, sorry. The restaurant I used to work in got broken into once, and they made off with a shitload of money.
The mistake was that it was me that broke it.
The mistake was that I robbed it.
The mistake was I didn't destroy all the CCTV cameras.
So yeah, basically, so the next day I sort of heard about all this, and then I went on Facebook, and I was really pissed off because we just had a really fucking manic weekend, taking a shitload of money, and obviously someone knew this, and basically because the safe was in such a weird part of the building, it was clearly an inside job. So I, being clever, took to Facebook and was like, fucking hell, been robbed at work. And I actually said, it's clearly a fucking inside job.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm well pissed off. Yeah, the police wanted to chat.
Oh, really? You didn't tell me this?
Yeah, well, they were just like, why the fuck are you posting? They didn't say why the fuck, so why are you posting that on Facebook? That's really not helpful at all. Because you're basically giving away details of an investigation. But it was it was a combination of that and managers at work not really understanding how social media works, because they were one of the boss's kids worked with us, and they're like, oh, she's in Tenerife and even she saw it. It's no, it doesn't spread physically, geographically. She saw it because she is my friend on Facebook. It's not everyone in Tenerife knows about it.
Yeah, they were all chatting about it.
They were inside job, wasn't it? Definitely inside job, yeah.
And then Sean's sitting there with a fake moustache on and one of those hats. Going, oh, no, senor.
No. Oh, no, inside job. Okay, that was good in accent. Let's move on.
So yeah, that was bad. But yeah, fucking up at work is the worst feeling.
Not only that, right? The longer that you're at a job and the more experienced you are, the mistakes that you make early on in your career, you look back on and go, Jesus Christ, why was I so worried? That's nothing compared to what I'm doing now.
It's at work, I've misplaced fucking minutes from meetings, right? We have to get them signed by the chair of the board, whatever, and And I've lost a couple of those in the past, and I used to shit myself about it. And now it's like, no, just ask him to sign another copy. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
it's not a problem.
Very early on in my current job, I sent a load of drawings out, and they went to build it on site, and they said, David, I'm standing, like, we've marked out where you want these walls. There's a fucking massive column in the middle of a corridor. And what had happened is I forgot to add the column drawing to that particular plan. So, and then when I did, there was columns everywhere that were just sitting in, like, corridors and shit. I lost sleep over that, right? I now look back at that and think, my word, that is not even a mistake. Who cares? You just, like, that is not a problem. The stuff that I'm doing now is a problem. So I'm hoping in 10 years' time I can look back at what I've done this year and just go, that was funny. Shit.
Anyone else?
I've got nothing I'd rather say on the podcast.
Same here.
Cowards.
James accidentally lied about Chinese history.
Yeah, there's nothing.
And there was a giant enemy crab.
Right, Sean Thomas says, at what age do you need to start getting up in the middle of the night for a piss, asking for a friend?
Hasn't happened yet, and I'm 35.
You kidding?
What? No, of course not.
I was like 30, it started for me. Jesus.
Why don't you go for a piss before you go to bed?
No, because you do
that.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, I went for a massive phase of it. I mean, probably 2 years thinking this is the rest of my life. I'm never going to sleep through now. But it went away. I think it was due to health issues because
It's totally that. Because I was starting to do that and then I lost a little bit of weight and it's not happening so much.
Yeah, that's what's happened to me. Since I started losing weight, I don't get up in the middle of the night to go for a piss anymore.
Okay, that's interesting because, that makes sense. But no, because I find, so like when I go to bed, like I feel absolutely fine, but as soon as I put my head down, like I feel like my blood pressure in my head. You ever get that? No, just me. I looked it up and it was like, oh, you're probably dehydrated. And lo and behold, if I just like drink like a glass or two of water before bed, that feeling totally goes away. But then I will be up like 2 or 3 times in the night. So, but I figured needing a piss is probably less of an issue than having high blood pressure. So
yeah, true.
Yeah,
it's totally gone away now, and it's great because I did it the other night. I had to get up in the middle of the night, go for a piss, but I did have about 8 bottles of beer before I went to bed. So it was, you understand that one. But god damn, it used to be just every night having to waddle over to the toilet and go for a slash. It was
because I used to get the thing of like I'd wake up like an hour before I wanted to get up, needing a piss, and then you have that thing of like, do I just get up or do I wait? And then but then that sort of started. That sort of started coming sooner and sooner, and then it was like, right, no, I just need to get up because it's only like 3 a.m.
It's when you're lying there and it gets into your head and you're like, I kind of need to go, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
and then it's like, you just have to do it because it's never going to go away, that feeling.
No. Have you ever woken up and like, you must have been sleeping quite heavily and as soon as you wake up, you need to piss so badly that you're like, I think as soon as I move, this is going to...
but I've usually got a massive rock on at that point, so I know that it's not going to break through that seal.
I was going to say, that's an insurance policy.
Also, right, this is weird, right? When I went for, I told you a couple of nights ago, I'd had a few beers. I wasn't pissed, like I was sober enough. I'd had a beer, but when I woke up, I was upside down in the bed. My feet were on the pillow and my head was the other end. No recollection of why or how that happened, because I remember going to sleep with my head on the pillow, and then all of a sudden I was out of the covers, just upside down, and I woke up and I was like, the fuck is going on here? That freaked me out a bit. Joe was like I thought maybe I dreamt that, and then Joe was like, why were you upside down on the bed last night? I don't know. Weird that.
Right. Darren Gargett says, if all 4 of you were to do one of those escape rooms, which one of you would lose their temper first?
When I saw this question, I was thinking, it's good, right? But if you reword it like this, I think it's better. If we were to all do an escape room puzzle, exactly the same one, and time it, in what order would we come? Like, in what order would we finish it because I think
what order would we come? Which order would we finish the escape room?
Okay, Matt, that's filth.
Okay, fucking hell, you guys.
Because I'm pretty sure, and I'm not trying to be. I'm pretty sure I'd finish last, and I think you'd all agree with me on that one. I'm thinking it's between. No offense, Matt. I'm thinking it's between Sean and James for the first place.
I don't know. I'm surprisingly
it's just based on intelligence. I haven't done one of these before, but aren't they like about lateral thinking and all sorts of stuff?
Well, not necessarily. Yeah.
I've done one before. It's like if you played a video game, you can do it. They're not hard because it's the same sort of logic. Often it's like video game logic.
Oh, in which case I'm last. Yeah.
No. I think you'd beat me, Matt. I do. I think you'd beat me. I'm not so sure. I think James. Right. If I'm being honest, I think James would do it first. Yeah. And then maybe between Sean and Matt for second and third, and then me last. Because I think Matt might get over... Matt's only stumbling point is that he might overthink it. And it's like, he'll think it's way more complicated than it actually is. You know what I mean?
I'd love to do one of these things. I haven't had a go at one yet.
Well, I would actually... it would be amazing to do one with you guys. I think that'd be really funny.
Oh, film it all.
Maybe we should. Did they let you do that? Or do they worry that it gives away?
It gives away the answers,
Well, you can't sign a fucking NDA, can you? So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, in terms of losing our temper, I'm pretty fucking bad these days just due to sleep deprivation. So.
It's true. Yeah, you get like that after a while. It's be me, wouldn't it? I just shouting things that are clearly wrong and then demanding that I'm correct and getting upset with everyone. Yeah, I'm the one.
But then James would get really pissed off with you doing that. So
that's true.
He wouldn't be far behind.
True, yeah.
James does have a short fuse. He does before he starts raising his voice and getting the ump. So maybe it is James.
The point is, as a team, we would be brilliant.
Yep, definitely.
Curtis says, can one of you play the Zero Escape series of games, and when you fall in love with it, like I have, gush about its awesomeness? I'm thinking Farley or Sean would like it. Now, I've never...
I don't know about these.
I just gather there's a lot of words in them, and it's all a bit anime, and...
That's me out.
Well, yeah. But no, people do love them.
Hang on, this is the... Yeah, because it's the... I just had a look. It's the 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. That was a game that one time I was thinking about getting, but never got around to.
James, I'm looking at these characters, mate. You're all over this game. There's like an Egyptian wearing sort of character that instead of having a top, she hasn't got a top, and her necklace is covering her nipples. So
there you go. Fully decent.
I don't know what you're saying.
I'm saying you're a fucking pervert. Right?
Now, I don't know if this has been like a thing in the Discord, but then I've got two other tweets about this. So Pete Satherley says, one of the mates keeps pestering us to play the Zero Escape games. Is there any games you guys have been pestered to play that ended up being brilliant?
Well, yes. Mass Effect, obviously, is the one. One for me. All right, Mass Effect 1 I didn't like, but Mass Effect 2, wow. That's up there for me.
Yeah.
Dark Souls is another one. Yeah. Obviously, everyone's like, "Oh, you got to play Dark Souls," and I'm going, "No." And then I played it, and I went, "That is fucking shit." And then I went back to it, and then realised it was actually amazing. So yeah,
I'm trying to think. There have definitely been games where I'm like, I've started playing and being like, "Oh, you remember this game you were raving about 3 years ago? You weren't lying, were you?"
No,
but I can't remember. Fuck, which ones were they? I'm struggling. I mean, it's definitely happened. I just can't think what games they were.
It's really funny to me now, the amount of people, and this is evident because I listen to Beastcast, but the amount of people that are going, "Oh my God, Rainbow Six Siege is really good, isn't it?" And I'm going, "Yes, I fucking told you."
I see that also fascinates me when people say, "Actually, Rocket League is good, isn't it?" It's like a lot of people think, "I don't care about football and or cars or whatever," but I feel like that's the sort of game where it's just the core gameplay loop is just so good. I think even if you're not into football and or racing games or whatever you think the game is before you play it, I think a lot of people fall in love with it very easily.
Well, it'd be interesting to see how James finds it, because I mean, I know you've played it before and you've enjoyed it, but I mean, I'm getting very serious about that game at the moment. I've learned how to fly, which has been the barrier that's really stood between me and going crazy about that game, like to a ridiculous level. And I've broken through that barrier now, and I'm worried about everything else. So, I mean,
all the games are starting to come out.
I fuck everything else. I just want to quit everything and play Rocket League with the rest of my life. Know what I mean?
Sorted. Worth it. My answer is absolutely, definitely Dark Souls, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
James? Titanfall
Probably
2,
the same.
Oh yeah, Dark Souls. Yep. Right, let's do one more.
I mean, I also keep getting pestered to play Juiced, but it hasn't happened yet. Oodles says, I'm sick of being pestered about playing the Zero Escape games. Can you tell this person to leave us alone about it? Also, the game season has started strong again this week. What are you all looking forward to playing?
I didn't realise that Tomb Raider's just round the corner.
Everything's just round the corner. It's all kicking.
Yeah, but Tomb Raider, though, mate, I love those games, and I'm well up for another one. So,
oh wow, I've just discovered I already own a Zero Escape game.
Fucking Tory, just like I already own this. I didn't know.
No, it must have been a free one off PS Plus. It's on Vita.
Well, that's right. Yeah. I've ordered 2 Xbox One X's.
I've already had one. He's in the East Wing.
Might play that now.
I'll wait till after the pod.
Yeah. What were you saying? What was the question?
The game season started again. What games are you looking forward to?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously Red Dead. That's.
I was going to say Red Dead's that's the one.
But no, there's still a few. I'm genuinely looking forward to Mario Party. Sorry, but it's the game that my wife has started playing games for the first time ever, only to play with Harry. But we've been having fun moments with Overcooked 2. So yeah, that's on the list. The other one is I'm all up for Tomb Raider. Can't wait for that. It's a few games on the list.
Fist of the North Star. That's what I'm after.
No. Just the title. No, thank you.
Right, that's it.
That's it. We're done for another week. Matt, have you got anything to say for yourself?
Well, all the links to all our social media, all the places you can get the podcast are in the show notes. Just look at the podcast description right now. We're on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it. Obviously, I've mentioned it a million times, but I mention again, we're doing a live show at EGX. If you're in the area, or if you want to be in the area, we're doing a live show at 5 o'clock on Saturday, 22nd. And then we've got a meet in town at the Wellington Real Ale pub straight afterwards.
If you want to be in the area.
If you want to be in the area or not. But yeah,
okay.
Live show.
Live show. We'll catch you next week. Wait, this is what? So we've got 2 more normal shows than the live show?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. But stop planning it, baby.
Thanks for living it. Catch you next week.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Oh, no inside job.